Hey guys, how's it going? So, as you guys know, I am attorney Michael Eline. I am a personal injury attorney licensed to practice law in Texas and California. But I do come on every once in a while to talk about my exploits as a civil rights attorney. And we talk about criminal defense and what's going on right now in the global war against freedom of speech that we see the globalists have been thrusting upon Europe as well now, since this current administration on the United States with the wide open borders and the flooding of our country with peasants and people who don't understand our culture or our way of life. And they're coming here in droves. And we see that the police aren't doing anything to stop it or protect us. And many people are finally starting to wake up to the fact that law enforcement doesn't work for we the people, they work for the billionaires in charge of the municipal corporations. And many of you know that I'm an advocate for overturning civil asset forfeiture. I think that civil asset forfeiture laws are no different than something that Mao Zedong or Joseph Stalin would have allowed in their country, except here in the United States and in many cities that are having a hard time raising revenue, they use these as a way to fleece people from out of town, to try to steal their property and without having to go through due process. So civil asset forfeiture is a real problem. It's where the police pull you over. They have a drug dog usually sniff your money. And we all know that 90% of currency has drugs on it, like cocaine residue. And we know the dogs are trained to alert on money as well. So you know what's going on, guys. Municipal corporations are taking your property. This happened to a fellow Marine. And so naturally, me being a Marine, it got me interested in overturning civil asset forfeiture. And I even have my little OTCF. Give me a bunch of OTCFs in the sidebar. It's good seeing you guys. Jody, hopefully you're there. Steve Ladner, good seeing you. Ghost Man. Teneblas Abismos, love it. Love it that you guys are here. So I apologize again for being gone for the last couple of days. As you guys know, I am actually a practicing attorney and I have to pay my bills. And I don't really make any money off my YouTube channel, but I do have a lot of fun. And I've met a lot of really interesting people, and I've been able to help a lot of people who have had problems. So that's why we're here today, just to answer questions. You know, I don't even have a whole lot of material queued up, but I found some cool stuff that I thought you might find interesting for this Labor Day Cops Gone Wild weekend. I'm not even really anticipating having a big crowd tonight, guys. Number one, I've been gone for a while. And number two, it's freaking Labor Day weekend, right? So who knows what's going to happen. But good seeing you, Ghost Man. Yeah, so what I'll do is really quick, let me just see what I can find here. What's most important to me right now? Oh, well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about competence first. So for me, as you guys know, competence is a big thing for me. So that's why I don't believe in DEI and all this affirmative action nonsense. People should be appointed into positions of power based upon their experience, knowledge, and skill, based upon their merit. There's nothing racist about merit. It's African tribes and chiefs have appointed people in their tribes based on merit for thousands of years, just like the Egyptians, just like the Vikings, just like anybody who wants to have someone competent to lead their world. They didn't appoint people, and they don't appoint people based upon their gender or their sexual preference or any of that nonsense. That's all just a total scam. So what I wanted to do is share something with you that's going to blow your mind about the incompetence presently in this country. And it's just absolutely insane. And it's evidence that the mainstream media is the enemy of the American people, because a competent press would report on the incompetence of their politicians and their military leaders, because that's the only way you know if you got a raw deal or not. But when we see like the Washington Post is owned by the guy, I guess, who owns Amazon or something. So if you see like all the news agencies are owned by the same people who are trying to inject you with toxic substances, trying to keep your cows from farting, or releasing toxic mosquitoes into the environment that are killing off your family members, if those are the same people who run the news, how do you know what you're getting is even truthful? Because this story that I'm going to show you right now should have been all over the mainstream press like pronto. Like this story that I'm going to show you guys right now is evidence as to why we know that we're not getting the truth, because this is insane. Just watch this. This will start off our show for today.
3,000 sailor strong aircraft carrier caused a ship-wide emergency and demanded money. The USS Bennington was docked in Sydney, and most of the crew was sleeping off a night of, shall we say, diplomatic relations with the local pubs. Early in the morning, 10 University of Sydney students boarded the aircraft carrier undetected while dressed as pirates. They ran across the carrier and entered the bridge undiscovered. The new captain, a medical student clearly missing a few lectures on common sense, yelled into the PA system, "Now hear this. The USS Bennington has been captured by Sydney pirates. Now give us your valuables." 8 of the 10 pirates exited the bridge with the intention to begin soliciting donations for a local charity. You'd think someone would have noticed a bunch of college kids playing dress up on a carrier, but nope, the ship went into full panic mode. Alarms were blaring, sailors were scrambling, and suddenly these pirates realized they'd maybe made a mistake. The Navy, not known for its sense of humor about hijacking warships, rounded up the buccaneers. They were paraded around like the world's lamest prisoners and then booted off the ship. They certainly succeeded in giving 3,000 U.S. sailors the wake-up call of a life.
So
These pirates.
That was kind of wild, right? Like, I like the way they kind of saved it at the end. Like, oh, well, the Navy, they're not so forgiving. They booted these people who should have been executed, right? Like for climbing onto a ship. These guys should have been executed. They're on sovereign territory on a military vessel, nuclear powered, but they just got kicked off the ship. I'm sure that they probably raised a little bit of funds for diversity, equity, and inclusion on their way out. But the point I'm trying to make is the communist news, CNN and PMSNBC never covered that story, did they? So who the enemy of the American people are if they're in the news media based upon the stories that they don't talk about. That is on the level of our surrendering, of Joe Biden surrendering to the Taliban a few years ago and giving him billions of dollars worth of equipment and then trying to blame it on Donald Trump. Talk about incompetence. The greatest military geopolitical disaster in the history of the United States. And of course, it's Trump. Everything's Trump's fault unless it's good, right? So you can see that when the mainstream press supports that, it's time for you to maybe stop watching the CNN or PMSNBC. Can I get a bunch of ones if you guys agree? All right. So that's just another crazy story. And now we'll get into some other stuff. So let's get into some civil asset forfeiture law stuff. So as you guys know, I kind of like this dude's channel. His name is Steve. Hold on a minute. Steve Lado. And this is kind of a short video, but it kind of gets into civil asset forfeiture. I really like this guy. He's a lawyer, but he always dresses, kind of like, wears like a sports shirt or something. I think he's Canadian. I'm not sure. But his accent kind of gives him away a little bit. But anyways, I really like this guy's channel. I do invite you guys to like and subscribe to him. We're going to learn a little bit about civil asset forfeiture, even though we've talked about it in some other episodes, because we're going to get into what's really going on. That law enforcement is primarily being used to raise revenue. Law enforcement has no duty to protect individuals. They never have. Their duty is to protect the government, politicians, and government property. And only if they assume a duty to protect you, will they have a duty to protect you. And what's sad is, during the Rodney King riots, it was the Korean shop owners. They were the ones who avoided the most damage because they were armed with what so-called assault rifles. In other words, semi-automatic centerfire rifles, just a standard semi-automatic rifle, but it looks scary. So that scares people like Gavin Newsom and men that have low testosterone to where they want to ban them. And so, of course, those Korean shopkeepers who were able to defend their families and their livelihoods, now those same firearms that they had, many of them are now considered to be illegal assault weapons. And under the Roberti Ruse assault weapons law that people like Gavin Newsom love so much, those same Korean shopkeepers would have been overrun and their shops would have been burned to the ground. So just so you get an understanding of what government generally tries to do, which is to strip you of your freedoms and then say, well, you have the police to protect you. But according to the Supreme Court, the police have no duty to protect you. And instead, when you're in a society that's not armed, law enforcement, and especially, governments like communist governments like the Chinese, they'll trample all over your rights, kind of like what they're doing right now in Canada with this guy, Castro's son. What's his name? Trudeau, that guy. Anyways, let's watch this and get a look-see and listen up, hear what Steve's got to say. I think his name's Steve. Is it Steve? Yeah, Steve, let's listen to Steve.
A whole bunch of people send me the story out of North Carolina because it hits several of the things that we talk about all the time on this channel.
Talk about
And Dan, Scott, Jerry, Howie, and Nick, thank you very much, guys. It's a good story. North Carolina Police Department ordered to pay man back after forfeiting seized money through controversial process. And this is from Fox 46 out of Charlotte. And we talked before about civil asset forfeiture. It's the kind of thing that's bothering more and more people, to put it lightly, to the point where I suspect that soon we're going to see.
And here's one of the reasons why I think it's becoming more prominent, because the cop watchers, guys like Chili DeCastro, guys like Press with Rancor, they're out hustling and keeping an eye on these cops. So it's harder for them to raise revenue in their old way, where they would stake people out, get out of towners, and because they're being watched. And so naturally they don't want to be watched. They don't want people to see when they're dropping drugs or throwing a throwdown weapon in someone's car. And so they're trying to find alternative methods of raising revenue. And they're going back to this amazing idea of civil asset forfeiture. What a great way to get a promotion, right? If you can seize someone's $100,000 or $1 million that they have in their car, you too can be the next sheriff or chief of police. That's how it works in the administrative state. The more you can steal from your constituency, the more you can rape, rob, and pillage from the tax base, and make sure that you get a raise, make sure that your people at the U.S. post offices, right, those guys get a job, make sure your family members get a job at the post office, make sure that you pull in those ballots at midnight to make sure that your party always stays in power. You're good. Let's take a look at what he's got to say.
Go away. But civil asset forfeiture is the idea that if the police encounter you, and you've got cash on you, for instance, they can go, where'd that cash come from? And if they don't believe you, or if they just pretend they don't believe you, they can take the cash from you and force you to sue them to get it back.
That's it.
And the standard for winning that is actually kind of difficult, and it costs money. So if you're going to spend money to get your money back, you see what the problem is. It's a math problem, among other things. So the idea of civil asset forfeiture has been riling more and more people lately. So a district court judge in North Carolina has given the town of Mooresville and its police department 1 week to comply with a court order or go to jail. The judge actually ordered them, give that man his money back, or I'm going to start jailing people.
Right on.
Very, very rarely do you ever hear this with respect to a municipality.
That's right.
Oftentimes judges will threaten to jail people who are in front of them and say, if you don't do this, you can go to jail. But it's not often you hear them say regarding a city.
That's right.
If the city doesn't do something, someone's going to jail. So here's what happened. The Mooresville Police Department was called out to a hotel in November of 2020, and they searched an unoccupied rental car. Now, the question, of course, is, did they have the right to search it and so on? We don't know. But while they were searching the car, they found a small amount of marijuana, as well as approximately $17,000 in cash belonging to.
Yeah, they always seem to find drugs or marijuana or get a dog to sniff on some kind of drugs whenever they want to steal your money. It's an amazing thing. Think about that. When you have a license to steal, how hard would it be just to fabricate evidence? How hard would that be for you if you had no moral compass and you were just imitating and mimicking the politicians, right? Like Nancy Pelosi, right? Or the bucktooth lady in New York, right? Where you go into office, you're a bartender, you have no money, and all of a sudden overnight you're worth $30-40 million. Think about that. Let's keep listening.
To a Connecticut man whose daughter resides in that county. So although he's not from the area, his daughter is. But he had $17,000 in cash on him. So on November 19th, the Mooresville Police Department was put on notice of a hearing to challenge the seizure of the money. And most states have a process.
That's right.
Where you can go and say, I want to challenge the forfeiture of the money. But the question is it worth pursuing? Now, $17,000 means if it costs you less than 17 to get your money back, then it's worth doing.
That's right.
But they often bank on the fact that they make it as convoluted.
Right. Here's the deal, guys. This is a big problem. Here's the deal. Finding a lawyer who understands civil asset forfeiture law, good effing luck. Okay. And 99.99% of lawyers have no clue what it's about. They will not work on a contingency because they're terrified that they're going to put in all this time and they won't be able to get the money back. And so that is what these political agents, these these proletariats, these apparatchiks of this new communist style fifth column administrative state since Obama that we have, that's what they count on. They bank on the fact that you're not going to be able to find a lawyer. Let's keep listening to what he's got to say.
And complicated as possible so that people will just say, it's not worth it and go away from it.
That's right.
It varies from state to state and also depends on whether you're dealing with the state or the feds. And that's where this story gets weird. It gets weird. So the day before the hearing, the police sent a check for $17,000 to the federal government under the authority of the federal civil asset forfeiture law.
Right.
And so, of course, it looks like they did that.
So the idea is if you turn it over to the feds, they'll kick you back a percentage. And now you've got to go federal. So it kicks it out of state court so they can get it away from this unfavorable municipal judge. Maybe get one of these like pro-administrative state type judges who don't care about you. Typically, it's going to be someone appointed by someone like an Obama or a Biden, like big time pro-administrative state who gives a shit about the taxpayer as long as their union, like the SEIU, continues to donate money to my political party or act blue, because that's all they really care about. Trust me, I've lobbied Congress. I know exactly what's going on. Let's keep watching.
On purpose. So the local police seized the money. They were going to keep it. When they get notified that, hey, someone's going to come after that money, they want their money back, the police department said, oh, okay. And they gave it to the feds. They're playing hot potato with it.
Right.
And the weird part is that the federal government often seizes money also through their agents. It's not uncommon you hear about federal marshals or other federal agents who come into contact with money and they seize it. And so here, the feds didn't seize the money. It was handed to them by the police who seized the money.
Happens
and the
all the
attorney
time.
says that timing was not accidental. What they did was circumvent the system by giving it over to the federal government because they anticipated coming into court and being able to say, sorry, we don't have that money anymore. You're going to have to chase it down in the federal system.
Yep.
So the attorney went on to explain how difficult it is for people to get their money back after it is in the federal government's possession.
That's right.
So the consequence of that is people are forever without their money, even if ultimately their case is dismissed or they're found not guilty or otherwise their case goes away. The federal government can still keep that money. So the question you have is, this happened in North Carolina.
Not only do they keep it, but they have a deal worked out with these local scumbag municipal police offices where they give them a percentage. So, yeah, these cops are like, well, we know the local police, they're going to support the citizens. So let's send it up to one of these New York City or Washington, D.C., dudes with the blue hair who just graduated from Harvard or Columbia using their plagiarism in order to graduate. And now they immediately, instantly get a job working maybe for like the Biden administration cabinet level position. And guess what, guys? That's their money now. And that's going to go to their agency to make sure that their bureaucratic power is built up, to make sure that they can continue to donate money to that political party that's going to continue to inflate their salary while they destroy you and your family at your expense. And that's why I am an advocate for abolishing most federal ABC agencies and returning power back to the people. Deleting laws. Give me a bunch of ones in the sidebar if you agree we should be electing people based upon deleting laws instead of passing more laws, because every time you pass a law or govern means to take away, to reduce power. So every time you pass a law or reduce someone's power, you reduce them as a person. So the idea is we should be electing people based upon laws that they delete rather than restricting more of your freedoms. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Let's continue to listen to Steve.
Carolina. The Mooresville Police Department finds $17,000 in someone's car. They take it. A court is going to hold a hearing on it. And so they very quickly give it to the federal government. Why is the Mooresville Police Department handing $17,000 that's not theirs to the federal government?
That's OTVO, Virginia.
So to get forfeited money back from the federal government is also a costly process, one that most average people cannot afford. The attorney considers these forfeiture actions highway robbery and feels that the judge deserves a Medal of Honor for her bravery threatening Mooresville officials with incarceration. Next Thursday is the deadline for the man to get his money back. So Fox 46 has reached out to the town of Mooresville and the police department and has gotten no comment. So in a nutshell, the man's money was seized. He hired a local attorney. The local attorney set it for a hearing, all the way it's supposed to happen. The police department, the day before the hearing, takes the money and gives it to the feds. So we don't have the money anymore.
Scam.
The judge says, I don't care that you haven't got the money anymore. You got to give this man his money back. And she gives him a drop dead date. And she goes, and if it's not back in his possession by that point in time, someone's going to jail. Now, of course, whether someone actually goes to jail, I don't know if I'd put money on that.
Exactly.
It's good. This is calling attention to the problem. And I'd like to see her throw someone in jail. But the interesting thing is, if you think about this from just a typical perspective, let's pretend we're acting just normally and rationally as opposed to the law of civil asset forfeiture. If you have some money, and I walk up to you and I take the money away from you without your permission, that would probably be some form of theft or robbery, depends on exactly the circumstances, but it's wrong that I take your money without your permission.
Yeah.
You want your money back.
Amen.
I go, I'm not going to give you your money back. We're in America, so you say, okay, I'll see you in court.
Yep.
So you go to court, you file the proper paperwork, you notify me of the hearing, and the day before the hearing, I take the money
Do you believe that
and I
shit?
give it to somebody else. And then I walk into court and go, Your Honor, I haven't got the money anymore. Judge goes, what happened to the money? I gave it to somebody else. Can you imagine if that defense actually worked? Because criminals could do that all day long.
If you're a cop, sure.
And people who are being sued could do that all day long.
Well, you're
That
the
man
government.
stole my car. Give him his car back. I haven't got it anymore. I gave it to somebody else. So that concept cannot work. And one of the biggest problems that you have, and I've been fascinated by this the 30 years I've been an attorney, the 2 years I was in law school, and the years I was preparing to go to law school, is how people's mindset gets affected by who the parties are. So in other words, if you hear that like a movie star has filed for this, it sounds different than if your next door neighbor filed for the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise, if it's the government filing an action, it sounds different than if I file the action. But if the action is a legal action, it shouldn't matter who the parties are. So if you're the judge,
Well, wait a minute. I would take that a step further. It should matter. If the government's doing this kind of stuff, they've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution. If the government's doing this kind of stuff, those administrative agents, they should be tarred and feathered. Give me a bunch of ones if you understand what I'm talking about. If these are people who are using our hard-earned tax dollars, if in fact it's our tax dollars are being used, many people think it's fiat currency and Jekyll Island nonsense. But if you actually believe that your hard work is contributing taxes that go to pay for these scumbags, why aren't they being tarred and feathered? Why aren't they being strung up? Why aren't they being hung from their own petards? Why instead are they being given deferential treatment? The only politician that I've seen in the last 30 years that hasn't been given deferential treatment is Donald Trump. All the other politicians get a free pass, and so do all their administrative agents. So that definitely tells me that the administrative state doesn't like it when you go against the grain. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree with that. Give me a bunch of twos if you think I'm off base. I mean, look, I've been wrong before. Let's keep on listening. But I think he's off. I think that Steve should be holding government officials to be more accountable than saying, why should they get a pass? Rather than saying, why should they get a pass? He should be saying, why aren't they being treated more harshly? Do you agree? Yes or no? Ones if you agree, two if you disagree. Good seeing you, Let's OTVO. Good seeing you. What's the matter, you? Everybody, Jody, everybody. I'm so stoked that you guys are here. Again, I apologize. I'm still recovering from my trip to Torrance in the 5-hour drive moving to one of my offices. So I'm wiped out. But let's keep on going. Listen to Steve. He's got a lot of good things to say.
Down there in North Carolina, and two parties come before you. And one party says, they took my money. I want it back. You turn to the other party and go, where's their money? Don't have it anymore, Your Honor. We gave it away yesterday. Okay, that's a problem.
It's a problem.
Now, the fact that that's the police department for a city giving it to the federal government shouldn't make a difference because there's no law that says, oh, by the way, we can steal your money, but we'll be exonerated if we give it to the federal government. There's no law that says that. There's no law that says that. Now, there is a strange law that's, swept across the nation that says that law enforcement, if they encounter you, can take your stuff.
Yeah,
they can take your money
crazy.
through civil asset forfeiture.
That's wild.
That is weird.
Weird.
And that, of course, is a scourge on our nation. It's something that I've been railing about for years.
Amen.
But the fact that there's a civil asset forfeiture at the heart of this mess doesn't excuse everything else these parties are doing.
That's right.
So when they have the money and to play hot potato with it, they give it to somebody else. Does that exonerate what they did in the first place?
No way.
No.
Makes it look worse.
No. So it would be very, very nice if the Mooresville Police Department or the city of Mooresville simply cut a check for $17,000 and handed it to this man. I doubt they'll do that.
They have
I
no
doubt
choice.
they'll do that. The other thing I can tell you is that quite often in cases like this, they'll often approach the person who lost their money and say, hey, if you drop your lawsuit, we'll give you half your money back. So you can have $17,000 maybe a couple years from now, or you can have $8,500 today. What do you want? Or you can have what's behind door number 2.
Right.
This is crazy. I know it's crazy. And the interesting thing is when I do videos about civil asset forfeiture, I have several reactions. A lot of people go, Steve, thank you. This is something we've been talking about. I'm glad you're keeping it on the radar. I also have people go, this is crazy. I've never heard of this before. And I always have at least one person who goes, this cannot be happening. What you're describing is impossible in America. It would be unconstitutional. It'd be a violation.
Sounds like something that would happen in Canada for sure, though, right? Keep going.
The Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, blah, blah, blah. It would be, but the Supreme Court has upheld it.
Yep.
And by the way, I'm just going to say this now. Everyone loves to blame this on the people they don't like. So I'm going to get people in the comments going, this is all this person's fault. It's all this person's fault. It's all this person's fault. And they're be naming people from the 20th century. Civil asset forfeiture goes back a long time. It actually predates the United States of America as a country.
Yep.
So how widespread it's been, how active it's been, how common it's been, that's changed over time. But a lot of the reason it's changed over time is that we're more aware of it because of modern media.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone gets their money seized in North Carolina at a motel, and a couple weeks later, we're hearing about it. That wouldn't have happened in the 1800s.
That's true.
Okay. So that's probably what's going on more than anything else. So North Carolina Police Department ordered to pay money back that they seized as forfeited through a controversial process. And if they don't, the judge says people might be going to jail.
Wild.
Which would be nice. Dan, Scott, Jerry, Howie, Nick, thanks for sending it. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
So I really like this guy. So guys, this is his name is Steve Lehto, Lehto. Never met the guy, but you guys know how I am. I don't discriminate based upon party affiliation or any of that kind of stuff. If you got good stuff, I want to share it with people. And this guy looks like he's got quite a few views on this one, almost over a 500,000 views. Great video, a couple of years old, definitely worth watching. He's got a great channel. So now the reason one of my viewers sent me this, so there's a big debate with my audience. So before I get into this next video, there's a big debate within my audience. My hardcore Chili de Castro faction says there's no such thing as a good cop. They're all bad. And then, of course, you guys know I do have several retired law enforcement officers who I've represented as whistleblowers. And I happen to believe that people can be capable of good if they work in law enforcement, just like I think that people in the military are good, and they're signing up because they think that they're going to make the world a better place and protect and defend the Constitution. But in particular, in a lot of these smaller police forces, they're finding out that they've got to, sing the party line like a gang, like a blue gang, basically a thin blue line gang. And they have a choice. They can, violate people's rights and go along with the thin blue line gang, or they can whistleblow. And, so part of my guys are saying, I don't care even if they're a whistleblower, you're evil if you want to join the police. And I happen to think that, that like Chile does, that there is a place for people as peace officers in this world. And so before we get into this video, I just want to share an example with you. When my father was growing up, He was, him and his friends were into drag racing, and the 22 freeway in Orange was under construction. And what's unique about the 22 freeway is it has many, many miles of quarter-mile strip. So these guys would go out there, they'd build out their Chevys, and they'd race the dudes with the Mopars who had the rich parents, right? But the difference is the law enforcement officers, they called them peace officers or sheriffs back then in Garden Grove. They would come and watch these guys race. They knew all the kids on a first name basis, and they would come and watch them race while the freeway was closed down. Well, modernly, that wouldn't happen. You'd have the police out there cuffing people or arresting them and putting the torture cuffs on them. So that's an example of where I think the country has kind of gone wrong. There is really no more community policing. There aren't really beat cops, and the kids are being brought up to hate their government or, hate their country, hate the police. And so there's like a double-edged sort of like this grind going on. But yeah, I am someone who believes that you can have good peace officers who believe in community policing. But obviously, I think that fathers are the most important part of community policing. A well-armed father is the best way to protect the neighborhood. In my honest opinion, I think that's the best way to keep the whole neighborhood safe. When I grew up, all of our neighbors were Vietnam vets or World War II or Korea vets. All the doors were unlocked. Everyone had at least one rifle in their home, and there was no crime. It just was non-existent. And people all knew each other on a first name basis. And it was more about, oh, you served in the Army. Oh, I forgive you, because if you're a Marine, you joke around. But it was more like you're all Team USA, right? It's just that you think that your team within Team USA, like the NFL, right? You think that the Raiders are better than the Patriots or whatever, but you're all still part of the NFL. And that's how it was when I was growing up. And give me a bunch of ones if that's how you think it should be right now, that we should be Team USA all the way, instead of having all this crazy nonsense where they teach you to hate our founding fathers and they want to pull down their statues and tell you that they were all bad people. And the Bill of Rights is racist, all that nonsense. That's just all these globalists who want to destroy you and control you with their 15-minute cities. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. So what we'll do is we'll just get into this next video really quick. This is a video about allegedly good cops reporting bad cops. So I want you to watch it, and then I want you to give me your opinion on what you think. Let's get into it.
These good cops humiliated corrupt cops.
He's under arrest and for disorderly conduct.
On public property, dipshit! What the fuck is wrong?
Absolutely.
You doing exactly what you're doing is not helping your career out.
Have a nice day, officer. You too, sir. Hope you learned something today.
On September 6, 2023, Officer Patrick Akers pulled over a driver for allegedly failing to signal a lane change. While this seemed like a routine stop, it was actually an evil revenge plan by the officer.
How's it going? Officer Akers, New Braunfels Police Department.
You are.
Okay,
I know who you are.
that's fine.
You're pulling me over for flipping you off. Yes, you are. You are retaliating against me. You turned your sirens on and everything, ran over here like a crazy person.
Now, if true, flipping off a police officer, that's a First Amendment protected activity. I know that we had one, the Colorado audits guy had a passenger in his car, I guess, flash an officer with a light or something. And ultimately that was considered to be like violating the officer's vision or something. But that is just a form of speech. Basically, you're flashing a light. It could have been a light on a camera. You could have been filming. So that's just protected activity. And so if that's the case here, that this woman's just flipping someone off and she's getting rousted for it, well, this guy shouldn't be on the police force. That's the point that I'm trying to make, guys, is, and I've said this before, if you have a crazy uncle, you have a crazy aunt, cousin, you have someone in your family, they've got autism, they have Tourette's, they cuss a lot. If they have an interaction with one of these psychopathic cops, the cop could end up killing them, shooting them, punching them, beating them up. And that's why it's super, super important that people who do join the police are taught how to de-escalate, and they're taught about love of country, and they're taught about human psychology, right? Like, this could just be someone who's an innocent person. It could be a woman going through menopause. She could have just had a miscarriage. She could have all kinds of hormone problems. And so if you're one of these cops who takes things personal like this, you really should not be involved anywhere near law enforcement, because you're going to end up hurting someone, and you're going to end up hurting yourself because you go to jail. Trust me, they're not easy on cops in jail. Let's keep going.
person.
Okay, well, ma'am, the reason why you're being contacted is you failed to signal lane change when you flicked me off.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and step out of the car.
Please don't let. He's hurt me before. Please don't let him do anything to me. Please.
Wow.
Please don't. I flipped him off because he's been illegal to me.
All right, here's the back.
Okay. Don't let him.
As you
That's
might have guessed,
insane.
Officer Patrick and the driver, Brittany Torvino, had a very abusive history. Brittany
Yeah.
was previously unlawfully arrested by Officer Patrick, an arrest which greatly traumatized her. So she desperately needed a savior, knowing that he would use any means to make her life a living hell.
You're under arrest for failed to signal lane change.
I'm under arrest.
Under
for failing
arrest.
to signal a lane change.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm under arrest for failing to signal a lane change.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. You guys just know this is bullshit. You guys
It is
just know
bullshit.
it is. You guys know it is.
Arresting someone for a simple traffic violation, especially when they were innocent, uncovered the deputy's ill intentions.
Yeah.
But luckily for her, Brittany's cries for help would eventually be heard, as the reporting supervisor, Sergeant Scott, was done with his deputy's power trip.
What's that? Yeah, she has a driver's license, but
I'm gonna turn this off. No.
yeah, she has a driver's license, but
So in case some of you guys are new, this is why I always tell you guys, always videotape everything. Because these guys will turn off their audio, they'll turn off their video, they'll turn their camera a certain direction while they're punching you in the face or trying to poke your eye out or, planting a little bag of cocaine in your back pocket. I mean, this kind of stuff goes on all the time, guys. I've been practicing law for about 20 years now. And before that, I was a paralegal. I've worked on both sides with the prosecutor as well as with the defense side. And I'm telling you, it happens. I've been beat up by a West Covina cop because I demanded that he show me a copy of his photo ID. Had I not had eyewitnesses, because back then nobody filmed anything back in those days. Had I not had eyewitnesses there who gave sworn statements, I would have had a criminal record right now. So these people have the power to destroy your life. Let's keep watching.
Why are we arresting you for a theft infraction?
Well, she comes down the street, comes right towards me. As I'm walking back by the car, didn't do nothing. She flips me off, and then as she does that, she gets on the lane, fails to signal lane change. Okay. You guys, it's gonna be an issue.
Huh?
You think it's gonna be an issue? Yeah.
Any other person would write a ticket to you, right?
Yeah.
So that's how you have to treat every interaction. So if you would normally write a ticket to this person for this, just because that in the past you've done this, this, and this, right? This is something that you would normally write a ticket for. Then it's
Yeah. You want me to go ahead, please?
yeah. So write the ticket, just fill it out.
He's got to let her go. The supervisor is basically, he's correct, but honestly, she should not even get the ticket. Now, here's a problem that I have with modern law enforcers is your job primarily should be to do justice. For example, if I was in California and I was a deputy sheriff and I was told I have to enforce some law, like you can only have 10 rounds in a magazine or something, in the interest of justice and in my knowledge of the law and the Constitution, I would not make that arrest. I would not write that ticket. I would not seize that person's lawful standard capacity magazine or do anything at all to impede or hinder their Second Amendment rights. That's what a real cop would do. A real cop would be somebody who knows the law and means to keep it well. And that's the problem that we have, guys, is everybody as a law-abiding American should take the same amount of time that I took to initially learn their rights. Start reading Blackstone's commentaries on the English law. Start reading the works of Thomas Aquinas. Start looking at John Locke and the Bill of Rights and starting to understand where your rights flow from, which is from the universe, from an all-powerful creator. They don't come from men. They come from an all-powerful creator. We're all connected through this universal fabric, and we all have these unalienable human rights. And America was the first country to codify and recognize that is true, is a true fact. And there's always been another faction that's been pushing for democracy, which all of our founding fathers were against. None of them supported democracy, which in essence means mob rules, where 51% of the population can steal the property of the remaining 49. That's not what they wanted. They wanted people to have unalienable individual rights, where the government was bound by the chains of the Constitution, not the other way around, where the people were bound by the chains of government. That's what we escaped from Europe. But the banksters with Jekyll Island were able to get a lot more of that control back. And, you know, with the Fed and all that, they've done a terrific job at eroding our rights. But nonetheless, we still have those documents and we can still make changes. And so anyways, I really like it when you guys stick around and watch these videos, because bad cops are just a symptom of the problem, which is bad politicians. It's perfectly okay to hate your government and love your country. And this is why.
The supervisor ended Officer Patrick's tyranny, and he issued Brittany a citation. She was scarred by the incident, and she shared the arrest on her YouTube channel. It gained thousands of views, and the officer received a huge backlash from the community, enough to keep him as far away from Brittany as possible.
Hi, Kayla. Okay, so I'm just wondering if you could answer a question for me.
It's kind of hot.
So there's this YouTube video online of an officer arresting a girl.
Okay, guys, give me, okay, 1 for smash, 2 for no smash. I want to see it. Let's go.
For failing to use her turn signal. Is he still employed?
No.
He's not.
No, he doesn't work here any longer.
All right.
Officer Akers resigned from the New Braunfels Sheriff's Office after the incident. However, he would join the St. Hedwig's Marshal Office 30 miles away to resume policing operations. Much to the distaste
No
of
smash
Brittany,
says, what's the
Sergeant
matter, you?
Scott was thanked for taming Deputy Patrick, but the next supervisor was insulted by his corrupt deputy, who was humiliated in the most embarrassing way possible.
Thank you. All right. Have a nice day, officer.
You too, sir.
Hope you learned something today.
On January 4th, 2019, a man was taking pictures of the exterior of the Toms River Municipal Court when he was approached by an officer with a very sinister intent.
Taking pictures? Working on a story for the township?
You're working on a story for the township.
Well, about the township for me.
For you?
Yes.
Are you making a documentary?
It's a news story.
News story?
Yeah.
You have ID?
So just so you guys know, like, this guy has no duty to answer any questions to this law enforcement guy. Okay. You don't have to answer any questions. Now, typically when I have in the past, when I've had somebody from law enforcement want to have an encounter with me, and then they start asking me questions like, hey, where are you coming from? How's it going? They start pulling that kind of crap. I'm very polite and courteous. And I just simply say, you know, I really want to help you in your investigation. I really want to. But before I do that, I've been told by my lawyer that he has to be present. So if you could just hold off until I get my lawyer on the phone, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions once I have him present. And that's the way I try to handle it. And if it's on tape and you're handling it like that, think about how good you look. Because remember, if it gets to a jury and you come off like a creep and you're cussing and swearing and making a scene, the jury's not going to like you guys. So there's a lot of politics behind winning a case. And I'm just telling you that as a lawyer, somebody who's done quite a few trials, that your client is what makes your case, not necessarily the facts. Not necessarily. Obviously, those definitely help. Things like facts help and damages help. But it's the client. It's the client's personality. If you have a humble, meek, squared away client, even if they're not as damaged as someone who might be missing a limb, but they came off like a punk and they were a creep. A lot of those people on the jury, they're just not going to give you the big money that would have made it worth it for you to go through the process of trial. Anyways, I just wanted you guys to know that. Let's keep going.
I always have ID.
Okay, can you provide that?
No.
You can do whatever you want, but as far as I just need to identify who you are.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
I do, sir.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
And what law is that?
Well, you came in as a suspicious person. Anytime we investigate as to somebody calling in about suspicious, we need to at least identify who it is we spoke to. You're not in trouble in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, then I don't need to give ID.
Well, you do.
What law is that?
To know who you are.
What law is
If I'm
that?
investigating a crime, it's actually called obstruction if you fail to provide
Wrong.
documentation. No, sir,
Quote
it's not wrong.
quote that statute.
Okay, guys, on a 1 to 10, Chile being the best, because I think we all have to admit that Chile is beyond a shadow of a doubt the best activist, cop watcher, auditor who ever has walked the face of the earth. We all know that. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, so far on the Chile scale of 1 to 10, cop auditor, cop watcher, what are we going to give this guy? So far, I'm kind of liking him. He's clearly not at the Chile level, but give me give me what you think. Is it a 5? What's the matter with you? What is it? A 6? Is it a 10? Is this guy at a 10? Is he at a Chile level? Let me know. I want to see in the sidebar. Here we go.
Quote obstruction. No, apparently you don't.
Sir, look, I'm not looking.
I have to commit an unlawful act and prevent you from performing your unlawful duty to be in violation of obstruction.
Currently, right now.
So what's the unlawful act?
Whoa.
Right now, it's
Wait a minute.
came in as a suspicious
Okay,
person.
and
Ronald's giving him a 10. Ronald, really? Hold on a minute, guys. Who is this Ronald guy? Ronald's given this cop watcher a 10 on the Chile scale. Who the heck is Ronald? Are you one of these troll guys? I'm not buying it. Who's this Ronald guy? Somebody vet this guy. This is not cool. This is Francisco's giving him a 10. What the heck? Who is Francisco? We've got 2 people putting him at Chile level. I'm going to have to up Chile level to 12 then, guys. Because if this guy is a 10, Chile's got to be at least a 12. This is crazy. I feel like one of these guys from World Wrestling Entertainment. What are we going to do? Anyways, let's get back into it.
what statute is suspicious?
Police can ask for an ID if and only if they have a reasonable suspicion that you've committed a crime.
What's up,
Taking
BZ?
pictures of a public building or supposedly appearing suspicious wasn't reasonable suspicion that a crime was committed. It wasn't clear if the officer knew this and just wanted to threaten the man, but he would regret his actions once his supervisor arrived.
And listen, again, if you
Okay.
fail
Well,
to
I-
provide your
What's up, Mama
documentation, you
Lion?
can be placed under arrest for
You
obstruction.
think so?
Oh, I know so.
You know so.
So I'm going to ask you again, can you please provide your documentation? Otherwise, you are going to be placed under arrest
Where
for
are your
obstruction. But here's the other
papers?
problem. Now you lied to me. So now I have a
Whoa.
concern as to whether you're being truthful and honest with me. Do you understand?
Okay, well, you're not being truthful and honest with me because you haven't quoted a law yet that I'm required to show you
Sir,
I did.
already explained to you what I need to
Supervisor.
do. If you fail to, there's actually a supervisor right there.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't need to have a supervisor anyway because I asked you for who you are.
Well, I'm
You
asking
lied
for
to
a
me about who
supervisor.
you are, and I
I
told
did
you.
not lie about who I am.
explained to you what happens if you fail to provide documentation. Now, if I find out you're lying to me, now you could be charged with hindering.
Do we have a
Oh,
sergeant?
God.
Failed documentation.
No.
Hold
Yes,
on
sir.
a minute, guys. I got something to say about this.
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers? To the concentration camp with you.
Oh man, can you believe this? I mean, this is just like, this really chaps my hide. Can you believe this kind of stuff he's saying? You got to show me your papers or we're going to lock you up, right? This is just insane. This is happening in a country that has a Bill of Rights that's been going on for hundreds of years. How did it devolve to this that people think this is okay? This is insane in the membrane. What the heck is going on, guys? Somebody tell me. Somebody explain to me what's going on. All right. Well, we know what's going on with the papers guy. Let's keep going.
What's going on, sir?
Two? Okay.
What's going on? So, what is your name and what is your information?
I'm not answering any questions. Personal
Okay,
information.
well, then you're going to be placed under arrest for obstruction.
And what law is that,
Sir.
Sergeant?
He doesn't need to explain it to you.
Well,
I
he
already
does
know
actually.
that's what it is.
He actually does.
Just hold on a second.
So let's find out.
Can I just ask you what you're doing here?
Yes, sir. I'm in
Okay.
public taking pictures of a public building,
Okay.
expressing my First Amendment right to freedom of press.
Okay.
I'm here to actually file a complaint.
Okay. You have
Against-
that right. You have all those rights. You just
Thank you.
mentioned.
Well, he appears to
Okay.
tell me that I don't.
Now, just so you know, there are areas of this building that are posted. that are
Absolutely.
off limits.
Yep, like
All
the
right?
back of that parking lot there. It
So
says
you
restricted
obviously
area. Can't go
can't
back
enter those
there.
areas or video those areas.
Absolutely.
Other than that, if you want to walk around with your camera, you can walk around with your camera.
And I don't need to show ID to do that.
You don't have to show ID right now. No, sir. All right, sir?
How's that?
Well, that's incorrect.
Oh, is it? Is it? So your sergeant's wrong. So your sergeant's wrong? So your sergeant's...
We're not going to get into an argument here.
Sure.
So,
Oh,
we're all
Because
man.
I was just threatened with arrest for not providing
Oh,
identification.
man.
It's a
That was
violation of the
great.
Fourth Amendment.
all right, sir. But now we're clear on what's going on, right?
Is he?
Are we all clear?
Is he clear? Because I'm clear and you're clear.
Everybody here is clear, sir.
Very good, sir.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
Continue what you're doing.
I appreciate your
All
help.
right? You have a good day.
You too.
All right?
Thank you
We're
very
all
much.
clear, guys.
All right, guys. So that's just a little lesson in why it's so important that people who get into wanting to be a peace officer and law enforcement, in my opinion, they should be a little older, first of all. I think if you're going, I think the sheriff's model made sense, where you have the younger deputies working in the jail, so they understand how the criminal element thinks, how their clicks are, because you can spot them instantly. You know a potential threat when you hit the street, and it allows them to develop maturity and be led by more mature officers, as opposed to the municipal police model, which I think is dangerous, where they put you in like a junior college, which BZ Watchdog can tell you about. Like straight up put you in a JC, like a wrestling camp, basically, where they teach you to take control and be authoritative, right? And act like you know what you're talking about. And then they put you out on the street. And the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, that's not even at the forefront. So, you know, that's kind of where I think that older model where you have a little bit of training, it's going to make for a better peace officer. But then again, you also have to make sure that it's not about asserting control. It's got to be about earning respect of people that are out there where they respect you. It's like being a lawyer. Everybody hates lawyers, but a lot of people like me because I've made a good faith effort to get to know people, return their calls, and even if I can't help them, at least do my best to try to find a way to help them, or at least show that I care, as opposed to treating people with short shrift. And it's no different than someone who has a coffee shop or a sandwich shop, barber shop. The mom and pop people who stay around, the small firms that make it, they make it because people remember that they were trustworthy, honorable people. And people, if your department, based upon the chief or the sheriff, develops a reputation of, hey, you know, that guy actually let me off, or that guy, you know, could have made an arrest, but he didn't. Instead, he drove me home. When you get a reputation like that, that's better job security. And then also people are more likely to come forward when there's a real problem in the neighborhood. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Maybe I'm old school Ozzie and Harriet or whatever, but I just think that's a better model. Let's keep on going and listening to what's going on here.
Thank you. All right. Have a nice day, officer.
You too, sir.
Hope you learned something today.
The supervisor
Will
shut
do,
down his
BZ. Give me a
deputy's
second,
arrogance
buddy.
in less than a minute, and he was left humbled. He stayed back and was lectured by the supervisor, who would again show him that he was supposed to serve and not oppress citizens.
We're all set. You guys are good? Frank, you're good? Yes, sir. All right, Joe, yes.
By the way, officer, name and badge number, please.
Not right now, sir.
Excuse me. Is it in your policy to identify yourself? You engaged me. Sergeant, it's his policy to identify himself to me?
That's Officer Michelle, badge number 369.
Okay, I don't know what's going on here.
Sergeant Ruiz, badge number 339.
Appreciate it.
Numbers and names?
Oh, they didn't contact me. That's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it.
They're not happy, right?
Of shame. Walk of shame.
This interaction was uploaded to YouTube and gained high traction, with the police department stating that the deputy's actions would be duly investigated. If you're enjoying this video, please leave a like and subscribe so we can make more like it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool video. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you the latest Chuck Bronson clip, and I'm going to let BZ sharing this with us. So everybody say hi to BZ. Make sure to check out his channel. Give him a bunch of ones and like and subscribe to BZ Watchdog. What I'm going to do now is we're going to get into a little bit of the latest Chuck Bronson video, and I'm going to dissect it from my lawyerly points of view and my crazy sense of humor, and we'll go from there. And then BZ, tell me, you know, in the sidebar there, if you want me to shoot you a link, if you want to help narrate it or whatever, I can shoot you over the link. Bingo.
What you doing looking through cars?
Huh?
You looking through the cars?
What do you mean?
I saw you right there looking through the cars.
What car did I look through?
You were looking through that car, that car, that car.
I was looking through them.
I saw
What's
you.
that mean? Like going through one window and out the other? I don't understand. What do you mean looking through?
You were shining your flashlight.
Like looking in the passenger window and through the driver's side window?
All windows, sir.
Looking through all of them? You seen where my eyes were looking?
I could see you. I was sitting right there. If you were looking around.
I'm well aware where you were sitting, but I'm just saying, is that illegal?
To looking at other people's vehicles?
Yeah, it is. What statute is that?
I mean, you could possibly be breaking in.
Well, we don't care about possibly. We want law.
Do you have your ID on you?
For what? Am I under arrest?
That's suspicious. Obviously, you're looking through cars. Yes.
So I'm under arrest?
You're detained right now. Yes.
For what crime?
Hey, just really quick, guys. This is kind of blowing me away. So a buddy of mine just told me that his girlfriend tried out for Las Vegas corrections to be a corrections officer. And the girls have to do, I guess, 20 push-ups. And there were like 15 or 16 women there. And only one of the girls was able to do 10, and she barely did it. And they even allow you to take breaks. And all the dudes passed it, no problem. But that's probably a reason why Nevada doesn't have a lot of female officers, because their upper body strength. So if anybody knows, just a curiosity, I know it's a little bit of an aside, but it looks like some departments have way more female officers, and they don't look like they have a lot of upper body strength. So are the rules like different for different departments? Like, for example, like, does LAPD have easier standards? If you guys know, put it in the comments, because I'd love to do a show about that, because I've always thought I've met some female officers, you know, I've got a background in judo and stuff and in kickboxing. And I've always thought, like, so far I have not met a female officer that I don't think I could take very easily without even thinking twice about it, unless she resorted to using her firearm. And I'm just wondering, are there some departments that have like more relaxed rules to make it easier for them to get on? I'm just curious. If anybody knows, let me know. But we're going to get back into this bad chicken. Here we go, guys.
Looking through vehicles.
It's not a crime.
You
got a supervisor?
I sure do.
Okay.
Busy at the moment.
As soon as they're ready, can I see him?
I mean, you can.
Cool.
We'll be waiting here.
Okay. You know what the statute for looking in cars windows is?
You said you're waiting for a supervisor. I'm not going to talk to you.
Okay.
So now, guys, just so you know, on this particular part of confrontation, interaction, contact. So typically when an officer says you're being detained, right? If you agree that you're just being detained, then they're within the statute, they're within the case law that allows them to do what they're doing. But if you say, I'm under arrest, I'm not free to leave, and you objectively believe or subjectively believe that you're under arrest, you are legally under arrest. And that's something as a lawyer that I can't impress upon people enough. It's that I don't buy into this whole detained thing. That's a construct. That's not your rights. That's not your unalienable rights. Your unalienable rights is once your freedom is restricted, you are under arrest if you believe you are. It's not what they tell you. It's like when you go to the airport and they say, oh, don't worry about the radiation machine. It's just hardly anything. It's nothing more than a cell phone. But they're not scientists. They don't know about the cumulative effects. They don't know how many x-rays you've had, or if you're a combat vet who's had hundreds of x-rays that have built up into your tissue. They just spew nonsense. So if you're dealing with somebody like that, you're at a real disadvantage. So anyways, here we go. We're going to go ahead and watch the rest of this bad chicken.
Is this the supervisor?
Sure is.
Well, that was quick. I thought he was busy.
He was on another call.
Cool.
Okay. So, is there a reason why you're looking for vehicles in our parking lot, sir?
No,
Keep your hands out of your pockets for me.
I was looking around.
Okay. Keep your hands out of your
So right there. So is there a reason? So that's a leading question. So I just want you guys to understand. So if somebody asks you a question, is there a reason why you're doing this thing that I could potentially get you to admit or confess to? Is there a reason why you're doing that? They're trying to get him to admit or confess. And so the way Chuck so far is responding is good. Obviously, I have a different approach to the way I'm going to handle things, but so far he sounds pretty good. Let's keep going.
It's not in my pocket.
Okay. We're not going to play this game right now. I'm asking you a question. I just need an answer. Keep your hand out of your pocket.
It's not in my pocket.
So you understand that that's a suspicious behavior that we got to check out on, right? Is there a reason why you were?
I mean, I don't understand. No.
Okay. Well, right now, this isn't an open business. This isn't an open area. Okay. This is private property. Technically, it's the city's, yes. But during normal business hours, you're more than welcome to come through the parking lot. But at 11 at night, it's suspicious and we have to investigate that, okay?
Okay.
So because I did stop and talk with you, I do have to make a record of this interaction. You have to have identification on you so I can say we talked.
Am I under arrest?
You're not under arrest, but you are detained for my investigation, yes.
Okay, I mean, go ahead and investigate.
So hold on. They do the same kind of things in California. Like, let's say you work at a Home Depot, right? And you have a problem with a customer and then they want to write you up. And you know that if you sign 3 write-ups, you can get fired. So you don't want to sign anything. So they say, okay, well here, can you just like initial the file so at least I can say that we had this conversation? Oh, as soon as you initial the file, that's enough. That's your acknowledgement. So you don't have to sign it. So the same kind of thing here. What they're trying to do is create a contact. They want to get his information. They want to enter into their database. They want to check him for wants or warrants. And if not, now they've got the contact. So in California back in the day, until just recently, it still may be the case, if you were to apply for a concealed carry, a CCW, that would be used as a contact and a strike against you to be able to get a concealed carry permit. That's why I always tell you guys, never talk to the police and always record the interaction. Anything you say can and absolutely will be used in a negative way. It will never, ever help you. It never benefits you to engage in an investigation against yourself. Okay, here we go.
So do you have any kind of identification on you, sir?
Am I under arrest?
You are being detained.
Florida statute 3802. I'm only required to give you my ID if I'm under arrest.
And I'm asking. That's all. That's it.
Okay.
So if
As long as we're on the same page.
That's totally fine. Okay. So what I do need you to.
And that actually, guys, I like that variation because I would just say automatically I'm under arrest. But I didn't know that about Florida, that if you're under arrest, that means you have to give up your ID. I never knew that. All the more reason to never go out cop watching with an ID on you, right? Makes sense, right? I mean, I'm just thinking if I was going to be doing it and I knew I was going to be under arrest, like why would I even have my ID? I would probably want to be a passenger in a vehicle. That way I wouldn't have to worry about, the ID. I don't know, something I would do. Anyways, let's just keep on watching this because, man, so far Chuck is killing it, man.
You do know if you can stand in front of her vehicle?
Okay.
Absolutely killing it, brother. Great video, BZ. This is really good. Outstanding. Yeah, the interactions are what it's all about.
The crime is suspicion.
Yeah.
I was trying to find the police department for a complaint form.
Oh, if you need a complaint form, I can help you with that.
That's what I'm here for if you want to know.
Yeah, and see, that's fine. I can actually run in and get you the complaint form if you need it.
Okay.
I can also tell you if you wanted to file a complaint.
So, guys, what do you think? I'm thinking like 400 milligrams a week. What are you thinking? Probably a little testosterone cypionate based on the bald head. Probably Winstrol V. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments. What do you think?
We do have all of our forms online,
okay.
So you can submit it that way.
Yeah, I'd like to get it in person, paper, if possible.
Okay. Yeah, give me a second. I'm going to walk into the PD then and see if I can print you off a copy of that.
Sweet, appreciate it.
One moment.
Make sure you hit that thumbs up.
Yeah, go check out Chuck
that
Bronson.
Like button. I'm not done with these cops yet.
Make sure to double tap my screen, guys, because I'm in vertical. If you double tap my screen,
have you ever heard the plain view doctrine?
Please like me. Thanks, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel.
You know what that is? What is it?
I don't have to answer questions. Since you don't want to answer mine.
So you don't know. Yeah, but you're a public servant. You're a public servant. That's the difference. You're a public servant. No, I don't have to. I have the right to remain silent. I can invoke rights. You have no rights. You don't have rights when you're on the job. You understand that? You do need to answer questions. I am standing here, but you can still answer my questions. You're the servant. Yeah, you do. Me. I'm the highest ranking person here right now. Yes, I'm the highest ranking person here. I'm a citizen. You're a servant. Do you not get that? Do you run around these streets acting like it's something other than that or what? Plain view doctrine gives you the right to look into cars, and it gives me the right to look into cars too. So it's not really suspicious, is it? So now why am I being detained? This is an unlawful detainment, and I'd like to know why. What excuse are you going to come up with next of why I'm unlawfully detained? Can you tell me this?
And look, here's the deal. You know, he's got the right to be angry because he is being unlawfully detained. So far, they have not articulated any kind of suspicion that could lead them or even crack the door open a little bit to leading to some kind of probable cause. So I'm not seeing it. I can understand why he's upset. And I think that law enforcement officers need to be trained to also understand that there is a Bill of Rights and a Constitution, and there are going to be people out there testing them. And I would be happy as an officer to come across a guy like Chuck. I think it's the way to go because it's the way to show the public that you're on their side. I mean, they have an opportunity to make Chuck their friend right now as somebody who's engaged in a legitimate government accountability operation. And so it's their attitude to a large degree that's going to make his attitude change. So just think about that as we keep watching this. That's just my 2 cents. I totally respect your right to have a different opinion, but I just think that there's a way to make it work to where we don't need as many officers because people are just handling their business in a patriotic way where we all look after each other and create parallel systems where we're not dependent upon this great Leviathan for everything in our lives. Here we go.
You just go around detaining people for fun because you're bored, because it's a small town, you got nothing to do. What is it? Nothing? She's got nothing, folks. She's got nothing. What's your name and badge number? Can you say it louder? I can't hear you from that far. Can you say it where I can hear you?
Officer Leeds, 128.
128. How do you spell your last name?
Leeds, L-E-E-S.
Okay, Lees. Gotcha. It sounded like you were saying Leeds or something. I couldn't tell. So they said this is private property. Regardless if it's private property, I mean, I guess they can ask me to leave if they wish, if they have that authority. But that hasn't happened yet. You're free to go if you want. You're not being detained.
So I don't get this. Is she detaining
that
him?
Means?
What's going on here?
You're free to stay if you want to.
Okay, so BZ, if you're still here, what's going on? Is he still legally detained, or is he free to leave? What's going on right now? Somebody tell me what's going on. I don't get this. Hey, Bing Bing, good seeing you. Everybody say hi to Bing Bing. Glad you could join us today, Bing Bing. Thank you for coming in.
Here he comes.
Okay, so here's our complaint form. The one thing I do want to point out to you here is if you wanted to turn it in and make a formal complaint, we do have to have it notarized and returned back to us. But yeah, if you wanted to fill this out and bring it back to us during normal business hours,
okay,
they'd be able to take it from you.
So since it has to be notarized, there's no way to do it anonymously.
Unfortunately, we don't investigate anonymous complaints. You can go online and you can make an anonymous
What do
complaint.
you mean by you don't investigate anonymous complaints?
So for me to pass that up the chain of command my way, I would have to have it notarized.
So unless you guys are able to retaliate against somebody by knowing who they are, you refuse to take it.
So it's a swearable document, and we have to make sure that whatever the person is complaining, they're willing to swear that it is true and correct to the best of their knowledge. And that's to keep people from filing false complaints.
Sure.
I can tell you, if you were to go on the website and submit an anonymous complaint, that's out of my hands.
Okay.
I don't deal with that personally. I don't know how that process looks. I just know for me, with this,
you don't know if you do it online, if it has to be notarized or not?
No.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head. I can tell you, though, that we do get those. I don't know the process for that.
Do you guys have internal affairs?
We do.
Okay, like on site or?
We do. We do have an internal affairs division.
Cool.
We also have, if there's any investigation we can't handle.
Is that who I give this to?
That will go to our records division.
Okay.
Our records division will then get it to internal affairs.
So I can't give it to internal affairs?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it'd just be, your stop right here would be inside that door there. There's a window to the right.
Okay.
That's who you would see.
Yeah, I went up there. I seen the hours.
Pretty good video.
I seen something said call 9. I didn't. I was looking for a push button or something. I didn't see anything. I went around that way, didn't see anything, and then she pulls up over here. So
because we're a smaller department, we don't staff 24/7. We just use kind of really banker's hours, for lack of a better term, and that's just because of our staffing.
Okay.
Is there any other questions I can answer for you?
No, she said I'm detained. So.
And that's the thing. We do have to just make sure you're not up to, someone out here breaking the car.
I didn't touch anything.
No, you're fine. We've established that you haven't committed.
I looked around under the Plainview Doctrine, and that's it, man.
And that's the thing. Now that we know that you're just exercising your rights, you're free to go, sir.
Appreciate it.
You have a good night.
What was your name and badge?
My name is Corporal Speedy. My badge number
Corporal?
is 126.
Okay. Thanks for being professional, man.
Well, hey, you're exercising your rights.
Unlike her, she wasn't very nice.
You have a good night, sir. Be safe.
You too.
Oh man, Chuck doesn't mess around, does he? He really gets this. Damn.
He wasn't that professional too. He played along.
Yeah. He did all right. I mean, what are you gonna do?
I'm sure they got a call already.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to show where I was, people.
Wow. Pretty good.
Yeah, he detained me too. He's just as bad. Lake Dallas, Texas, everybody.
Yeah, he's out there killing it, guys.
Well, they had a complaint form readily available, so that was a plus.
Yeah, man.
I was detained unlawfully.
So check it out. BZ says, hold on, guys.
Couldn't articulate.
So BZ says that half that department is on administrative leave and under investigation. So I guess it looks like there's a lot of allegations of corruption, which doesn't surprise me. It's these smaller departments that we're hearing more and more bad stuff about, like, these recirculated, recycled cops that come from like a big department. They'll end up in one of these podunk towns with a bunch of other recycled ones, and they try to restart their lives. And you'll see, the same kind of bad behavior, but now it's at the small town level, and they've managed, like criminals, like to capture maybe a judgeship or, Dayton the prosecutor, or whatever. They basically control these small little fiefdoms there. And, we've heard allegations like that. What happened there with Ironton, with Chili DeCastro? You guys heard about all that stuff that went on over there. I saw some of the videos. I mean, it was pretty scary stuff going on over there, guys. I mean, I got to admit, those small towns look like they're more dangerous than the big ones. So, yeah, man. So BZ's saying that, it doesn't surprise me that half the place would be on administrative leave, especially when they're so aggressive walking up to people in parking lots like that and stuff. And I'm sure they already know who Chuck is. I mean, come on, man. I mean, the dude's out there with lights and cameras. He's clearly not like somebody trying to break into someone's car. He's clearly engaged in journalism. They just don't like it because it's not, state funded journalism like CNN or something, right? It's not some local station where sometimes they might need security from off-duty cops, that kind of a thing. That's what really goes on in a lot of these situations, guys. They just don't give citizen journalists the respect that they deserve. And that's supposed to separate us from all the other world, is that First Amendment. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree that the First Amendment means something, and that it should. And it's part of it is holding the government accountable. So let's go ahead and keep watching Chuck's video. Hopefully he's got some more good stuff.
One single fact of any type of a crime other than suspicion.
So I really didn't come here for a complaint form. The real reason I was in this area is because they recently had a cop named Winston Edmondson that was fired from this department.
Thank you, Matthew.
He claims that
double tap that
female
screen, guys. Give me some light.
there
Double tap. Thanks, Brett.
contacted him and
thank you, bro.
was telling him about
thank you, guys.
the chief
Thank you,
and the
everybody.
second in command had both forced
Thank you,
her
Matthew Howell.
to do things
Very kind of you guys. I appreciate it.
that she didn't want to do. This female claimed to this Winston Edmondson
That's right, man.
that they were forcing her to have sex at the headquarters, amongst other things.
It's wild, man.
This cop is currently trying to be the mayor of Louisville, Texas, which is a town next door where I've been working, doing some investigating. And next to that town, his son, Christian Edmondson, is a police officer. And he's the one that pulled me over making up lies in my most recent bait car video. And apparently both of them went to the police academy together. There's so much more to this story you can't even imagine. So after this, Winston Edmondson brings this story to light.
Wow.
As a
great work.
I don't know, self-proclaimed whistleblower against his fellow Blue Line members. He starts getting a little pushback. They're trying to come up with any excuse to get him fired, which they did. Of course, he claims he's innocent. All the documents that I've seen so far, I'll be posting in Discord, so you can go through those. He doesn't look that innocent. But you never know. You never know when you get into these type of politics and corruption. It's, it's hard to determine sometimes. And if his own son's willing to pull me over and lie about a stop, then I don't know. I mean, he could get that from his own father.
Yeah, and so that's another thing too, guys. A lot of people don't. Thank you again, Brett. Hey, yeah, dude, you guys rock, man. Thanks. So Brett Ray just hooked me up with 5 memberships. So hopefully somebody, guys, I've added a bunch of new material to the members only section. So hopefully, Brett, it'll go to somebody who cares about things that we like. And then Smokey the Bear just hooked me the crazy heck up. And Zoom with Smokey the Bear says, I have a friend who hit a 5-foot boulder on a highway in Colorado, and he works out at Fort Worth, knocked off the tires and burned the truck to the ground. Oh my God, he needs help. All right, well, check it out, Zoom with Smokey. I don't practice law in Colorado, but I know a lot of people, and I know some lawyers in Colorado. So why don't you reach out to me through the michaeleline.com website, through the contact form, or through BZ Watchdog, so I don't have to give out my address to everyone in the whole world right now. And I'll talk to you and we'll figure something out. And I do appreciate the donation. And if there's anything that I can do, if it's California or Texas related, of course, you can always call me and I'll do what I can to help you. If it's general legal principles, I'll also try to help you as well. And I'm really sorry that happened. Now, typically, those are tough cases, because they'll sometimes the government will claim act of God, but other times they were aware of a dangerous condition and they've had prior notice and the ability to fix it, right? Feasibility of repair would be something that could be looked at potentially. Maybe not to prove negligence, but to prove that it was feasible to repair it. And therefore, since they could have repaired it, that would show at least knowledge and therefore put someone on notice there was a problem. Anyways, it's a lot of stuff going on there about the law. And then what's the matter, you? Hey, what's going on? Almost everybody got a gift. I recognize homies who've been hanging. Absolutely. And okay, that's cool, BZ. Right on. Okay. All right. So BZ's given me the information. It says almost all the people got gift memberships. I recognize homies. Good. Yeah. So most of the guys, probably you guys all know that I'm a supporter of Team DLZ, and I'm part of Team DLZ. And, I really think that Chili got a raw deal, and I always felt terrible. And I tried to help him with his channel as best as I could. I never knew anything about any of this stuff until that happened. So I kind of learned how to use StreamYard and stuff because of him. Oh my gosh, look at this, Roger Lane. Look at this, guys, $50. Gosh, you guys, you're going to make it possible for me to take my wife and kids out for dinner tomorrow night. That's awesome. I appreciate that a lot. It means a lot to me. The other thing you guys can do also, now remember, I've told you this before. This is a prototype soft cover right here, but I have a digital version that has the same cover on it. And this is my book about my journey to becoming a practicing lawyer with no law degree or undergrad. And so this is how I became a lawyer on the law study program. And I have a digital copy. If you go to my YouTube homepage and you see right there on there, you can click on the PayPal link, and that you just pay there, and then I'll send you the link for your digital ebook. And you can learn about how I did it in California, but there's a couple other states. And now I'm licensed also in Texas. So I try to help patriots in Texas as well. And a lot of crazy stuff going on in Texas, especially like a lot of stuff against bikers where they're trying to go after the Second Amendment rights of bikers, which really gets me upset. So little things like that. But Roger, man, I really appreciate that. That's super freaking awesome. And so everybody give me a shout out for Roger Lane, and make sure to like and subscribe to Roger. And everybody in the sidebar, or my, whatever they want to call this thing, where everybody talks there. What's it called? The stream. You guys should all add each other as friends and start hanging out more, because we should be building parallel systems where we support each other. And so we can get off the grid, like we don't have to shop at Target anymore because we can get something from one of our friends who makes these things or whatever, something like that. Or somebody offers a service. They don't have to get it through some BlackRock company or whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. So, thank you, Tinny Hablas Abismos. I don't know about Genius, but hey, Just Willie. Thanks, guys, everybody, for joining me tonight. Let's get back into Chuck Bronson's video. And even if there's not a whole lot of action, the stuff that he's saying is just right on the money.
And it, makes me question, is it even possible for this guy to be honest?
Yeah.
If you're local to the area, you know anything about this story, feel free to put any info in the comments below. I could have told these two cops that I was there getting content for a story, but sometimes it's better off if they don't know why you're there. And the good old complaint form always comes in handy as the good excuse. And if the cops there are going to detain me for walking through a public parking lot,
that's wild to me.
Taking pictures, looking around, so-called looking into cars.
Yeah, in the context too, guys. Like, you got to understand, he's walking around with like camera equipment and lights. It's not like he's some dude in a hoodie who's like peeking into cars, It's just the overreaction. It's just such a turnoff, It's just so un-American. Just the heavy hand instead of the understanding heart. And it's going to always spur a reaction of hate and angst, because you're paying for this service And obviously, Chuck's not one of these guys who's breaking into someone's car.
It makes me, wonder about the integrity of everybody that works there.
Yeah.
And the thing is it's not just this department. These type of things are going on in every police department across the country. And here's where this cop was recently put on the Brady's list. Officer Winston Edmondson.
Wow. That's insane, man.
And this is Winston Edmondson's, basically a sworn statement of his claim of events. Make sure you hit that thumbs up.
Yeah.
Leave me 10 comments below. Let me know what everybody thinks.
Yeah, everybody, by the way, look, this dude is legit, man. Make sure somebody put Chuck's link in the sidebar, please, because I can't do it through StreamYard. It doesn't work for some reason. Please, somebody put it in there. And I'm just asking everybody who's part of Team MPE, Team DLZ, to please like and subscribe to his channel. It's really important that we support people who are putting out really good content. Man, not only does he get in their faces, but he also has good narrative and he has a lot of good perspective that I think that we need to take into consideration, because he's not doing this, you can tell, just for likes and clicks. He's doing this because he is trying to hold the government accountable, and that makes me really appreciate his videos. Let's listen.
Subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate every one of you. I tried to drag this out as long as possible so that everyone's able to read it. You can pause it if you need to, but there should be enough time to read it.
So let me just tell you what it says here, because I don't think everybody can see what I'm seeing. In a nutshell, it says that I, Winston Edmondson, was notified of my termination on July 18th, 2024 by the attached letter from the interim city manager, blah, 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 including the city charter. I am appealing my termination, blah, blah, blah. It has to do with unlawful retaliation for my efforts to address reported sexual misconduct, discriminatory practices, and potential criminal activities within the department. During my employment, I reported an incident of sexual misconduct involving blah, blah, blah. This report was made in good faith, blah, 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 blah. So it's basically somebody who's saying they provided testimony about a misconduct allegation. It was made aware of that the chief of police had an encounter, and this constituted a criminal offense, and that this was reported to Officer Weir for dereliction of duty, and he didn't assist. There was an African-American crash victim, and then he lied about not assisting him, and then there was an incident that was captured on video that he lied about, apparently. And then apparently I provided information to the investigator assigned to the Dallas PD about witness tampering. My termination appears to be the direct result of efforts to bring these to light. And then he goes into retaliatory actions, and then he goes into body camera footage where he was written up for allegedly violating body camera policy. According to the policy, officers are allowed to turn off their body cameras once all suspects and witnesses have been interviewed. In an incident involving a car accident, I followed this policy, and then I turned off my body camera only after everyone had been interviewed. So that's what this is about. And so I guess now we need to understand more about what is Chuck's take on all this. Never call me sir. I think I'm still rolling this too. Yeah, it's rolling. Hold on. Let's push it out because I read it to you. I think he's just letting us. I think that was it. All right. So that was Chuck. Now, does BZ have anything else for me? Hold on. I'm looking up another one. Now, hopefully BZ is still there to kind of help us out. Hold on. Now, it looks like this is the one with his son. So help me out, BZ.
I was live streaming the other night. Pulled into this McDonald's. Talked to my chat. This cop pulls up in the median over here to my left. He's just sitting there. Didn't know if he was trying to mess with me or if it was just a coincidence.
Yeah, I think this one's it, BZ. This is
a little while later, he takes off after this car. And then I go to follow him. Is he moving? We got movement. Wah, wah, wah. U-turn. Did you find a violation? I don't even have my scanner on.
Cool.
I'm gonna
Thanks,
pull the
man.
guy over. He's just gonna wait and see if I show up. So I assume you've seen the title thumbnail saying bait car. What's a bait car? How do you bait the cops? I bait the cops by following all laws. And I do it inside of a car. And that's a bait car. It works every time. So I'm driving down this road. Cop went this direction. Gonna go see if he pulls this car over. See what he does. So I'm driving down here, up here on the left. I'm gonna pass this cop. The cop gets behind me, starts to follow me. Make sure you watch till the end. You won't believe what this cop comes up with to pull me over. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Smash that like button.
And double tap it. Double tap me in vertical. Double tap is like. Double tap the screen right now, please. Thanks. Give me some likes, guys. And share me. Share this video to the world.
He's right there. He's right there on my left. He must have got tired of following the guy. Now he's behind me. He must have got tired of following the guy. Now he's behind me.
Duck, man. How can they not know who he is by now? That's what I want to know. Like, don't they know this guy's a citizen journalist by now? You gotta be kidding me, man.
He's waiting for the light to turn red. He's sitting there running my plate.
That's wild, man. That is insane. Hey, thanks, Roger. Roger just took this up, guys. 10 memberships to replenish Team MPE. And I appreciate that. I wasn't even going to come out tonight, guys. I'm exhausted. I am really fried from this week. So it means a lot to me, you guys supporting my channel, seriously. Because I like sharing my knowledge with you. It's really nice.
He's following me.
Hi, can you cover her face?
Okay, so in context, I guess this is that other cop's son. How does that work, DZ? This is the other officer's son. Hey, Mama Lion, good seeing you. Hey, Jody, how are you? So Jody's got her wrench. That's good. I think we need to get Just Willie a wrench too, right?
He's still following me, turn for turn.
Okay, hold on. What's the same DZ? Hold on. We went to the, okay. Oh, got it. Okay, so this cop that's making this stop
He's
went to
still
the
on me.
academy with the other guy.
4 passenger car, Roy Nora 8 5 Ida Charles.
He's running my plate
Roy
now.
Nora 8 5 Ida Charles, Florida. So white Volvo sedan.
Hold on. Dope Sick has a question, guys. So Dope Sick asks, hold on. Dope Sick Foundation says, Michael, what should he do in that situation? Well, you know, man, I'm not him. And I can only tell you what I would do if I was in that situation, and not as an armchair general looking down, but like actually there, feeling whatever he felt, whatever senses, whatever was going on in that moment. That's how I would have to judge it. But I can tell you as a general proposition that, you know, if you're going to get lit up, you're going to have to pull over, or you're going to end up probably getting shot. And if you resist an unlawful arrest or a lawful arrest, you'll be the one who ends up on the receiving end of the worst part of the punishment, sometimes may not survive it. So I think that you're always at a disadvantage whenever you have any kind of a confrontation or contact with any kind of law enforcement official. And so that's why I always say you should film everything and be very careful and always be courteous, considerate, and kind, not just with law enforcement and other people, but just with other people like that in life, because you'll have a better life if you're nice to people. There's no reason to be a jerk. And also with a jury, you're going to look like a much better person if you're nice and kind and not real combative. Everybody's going to have their own thing. Sometimes you have the right to get upset. And so we just have to, it's got to sometimes almost be objective, what was going to work in that moment. And then also being able to justify it somehow. So I always say that in that situation, you have to not be combative, but at the same time, you have to almost behave as though you're a prisoner of war. That's the only way I could describe it. You don't have any reason or any duty to engage in an investigation against yourself. Well, let's get back into the video.
Yep, pulling me over. Here we go.
Looks scary, man. Got the breathing up.
Oh, hello. What's up? I'm Officer Edmondson with the Firearm Police Department. Can you roll your window down for me?
What did I do?
The reason I stopped, can you roll your window down so I can talk to you?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, all right. The reason I stopped you, you pulled through a private parking lot without stopping.
Insane.
You also,
keep going.
No, that's the only violation. You have your driver's license, your proof of insurance?
Oh my God, you're stupid. This has got to be one of the dumbest cops yet. Here we go. Let's look at it from the front camera. I turn here. I turn right into this private property parking lot, which is perfectly legal in every state. There is no state that this is illegal.
Hi, can you cover her?
Now, what he's getting confused with is if there was a light in front of me and I was turning into here to avoid the light and I didn't make a complete stop while on private property. Not only was there no light to avoid, but I even make a complete stop right here for I don't know how many seconds.
Yeah.
Cops don't lie. Yeah, right.
They have the right to lie. They're trained to lie.
So at this point, this cop lies as usual, pulls me over. Here I am, unlawfully stopped. My rights getting violated. Don't shoot, man. And everybody in town thinks this cop is a good guy. Cops don't lie. Cops only pull people over when you do something wrong. Again, make sure you let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to know. Not gonna fall, is it?
That's wild. Like a pretty nice car. Was that like one of those highfalutin Teslas or something? That's true, J Sharp. Oh, it's a Volvo? Okay. Pretty nice, man. Is it like one of those hybrid ones? Volvos are pretty cool.
Find the insurance?
Yeah, I'm coming. It's coming. It's on this phone. Is digital all right? It is. Okay.
You live here in Texas or do you live in Florida?
Florida. Let's see.
All right,
Let's go TVO. What's up, bro?
I got it right here.
It's good seeing you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing up all the
Let's
time and
see.
keeping all the boogeymen out of here. Sorry I haven't been around as much, guys. I've just been swamped. I'm just
Where's
super
the
tired.
expiration date?
They don't put them on there. That company doesn't. It says at the bottom it expires 1 year from the issue date.
Okay. Cool. All right, give me 1 second.
I love that. Going through the moonroof. How cool is that, guys? That's right up there with hello is for suckers. Give me a bunch of ones if that's up there with hello is for suckers. Popping your head through a moonroof when you're having an engagement with.
Back up to
freaking hilarious. Hey, Stacy, good seeing you. You just missed out. So Chuck is popping his head through his moonroof in a Volvo. In a traffic stop.
Come on, get off my phone.
Talking to the cop. It's great.
There we go.
Oh, that is really good. It took me a second to. It's like Monty Python's Flying Circus. Seriously, that's great. I love how the gavel's like right there by the moonroof.
All right, it's gonna be a verbal warning. We give these out on all our verbal warnings. You're gonna be.
It looks like this is what it gives me, and it's so that you can call. There's a survey at the bottom. I couldn't seem to get that link to work, but it will take you to their website.
Sure,
and you may be able to find a survey link there. There's a phone number, address.
It's really funny.
And I guess this is in case you want to redress your grievances. They hand this to you just so you can let them know what you think.
Pulling through a private parking lot like that, you've got to stop. You can't use it as like a cut through around.
Well, if you weren't stalking and harassing, I wouldn't have.
Okay, all right. Have a good
Thank
night.
you, Roger. You guys are too kind, man. You're killing me right now. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. It means a lot to me.
What's your name?
Make sure to hit that like button. Double tap that screen, man. Double tap. And save this with everybody.
Clown. You just gonna run me over? You don't see me walking this way, stupid? What are you, stupid? Say get out of the way.
He's great.
Criminal.
He's got like the kill marks up there.
You talking to me?
What?
You talking to me or him?
Yeah, both of you.
What's wrong?
You're a bunch of damn criminals.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Okay, all right. Have a good night.
You don't know? You're gonna play stupid? This is what I do: is expose criminal cops, moron. Free to stay too.
Wow. Oh man. Wow.
Criminals, dude. Tell me I can't drive through a private parking lot. You have no authority on a private parking lot.
Well, hold on a minute. So let me share something with you guys. I don't know about that jurisdiction, but in Florida, certain cities do have statutes and relationships because they, typically when you lease something within the municipality, the government would have some kind of a lien, right? Or some kind of an easement on your right. That's part of the cost of doing business in the city, right? You have a lot less freedoms. You got to have licenses and all these things you might not need in an unincorporated area, right? And so the more minutia of government, the more licensing and the more things that you're going to need to be able to be in business. And so over time, you're put into a position where you basically don't have a whole lot of rights, and the government can just inspect you or do whatever they want whenever they want. And those are hold on one second, guys.
And that lieutenant or sergeant, whatever he was in the other car, is the same one from the PD that night.
Okay, so BZ, help us out on the sidebar.
Bunch of damn criminals, man. I was trying to find somewhere to pull over because he was stalking me.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Freaking scumbag criminal. Flower Mound Police Department.
OTVO, yeah.
Red doors or not.
Oh, this guy's great, man.
Police records. These look like the right doors.
Yes, sir.
I need to find out about getting some public records.
Okay.
I need to get body cam and dash cam footage, and then also need to get officer complaint forms.
Okay. Does the video leaves at 4 if you want anything from a dash cam? However, let me suggest pick up that phone.
Hey, Alan. Good
They
seeing you,
can send
buddy.
an officer right here to speak with you,
Okay.
and they'll take care of everything.
Okay.
Okay?
What do I put?
Thank you, Jay.
Just pick up the phone, they'll answer, and they'll just let them know exactly what you need. Yes, ma'am. No ha venido nada. Sí, va a venir alguien. Y si no, ¿qué se dijo en el teléfono?
Yeah, I'm at the police records department, and they said to pick up this phone, and you'll have a captain or somebody come out and talk to me.
Okay.
Officer complaints.
En caso que no, nomás le vente el teléfono de nuevo. Okay.
Last night.
Voy a cerrar las ventanas porque cerramos, pero nomás de levantar el teléfono.
That I'm complaining about? Yeah, I do. I'd rather not say.
Does this shirt make me look fat? I'd rather not say.
I'm complaining about a lieutenant. Ball.
That's wild.
Yeah, so that's why I need a captain.
That's crazy, man.
Like to be anonymous. According to the Texas statutes, I am.
Insane.
Yeah, I don't care about policies. I'm talking about law. Yeah, I would like to get it to a captain if that's all right. What about internal affairs? So I need to go directly to them? What, you're saying I have to ID even though I'm not under arrest? 3802 says I don't have to ID unless I'm under arrest. Yeah, I need to file. Are you not going to allow me to file a complaint?
Hey, guys, really quick. I just put something in the sidebar. I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to call it, but I think you know what I mean. I always call it the sidebar. I just became a teenager today, guys. So when I first met you guys, right before Chili got thrown in the slammer, I had, I think, about 3,000 subscribers, and they were just like lawyers and stuff from over the years, from videos that I put up years ago. And then just from doing these videos and hanging out with you guys and actually having a really good time and learning a lot myself and learning a lot about myself and about how you can help people, not just directly, but indirectly, right? To help other people better their lives and stuff. So it was kind of cool, you know, like there's a real cool community Yeah, man. And so now I'm a teenager. I got 13,000. I just busted it during this live stream. So guys, thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate that. But we still have wars to fight. So let's get back into this video with Chuck. Thanks, Roger. Hey,
I'm
Roger,
here in the lobby.
another 10 memberships. Thanks, Roger. Woohoo! Hell yeah. Everybody make sure to like and subscribe to Roger's channel if he's got one. Thanks, Stacy. Thanks, Mama Lion. Thanks, Lawyer Dog. Good seeing all you guys. Thanks, What's the Matter at You? Always love having you here, man. You're always so loyal, always on the channel. So cool, yeah. Super cool. Chad Crum, yeah, man. Thanks. Thanks for supporting the channel. It's really awesome. Super cool. Yeah.
No.
Ahorita le mando los mensajes.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
I'm Lieutenant Almond.
Nice to meet you.
I understand you wanted to speak to Captain.
I mean, I came in to try to get body cam footage, and then I wanted to get a complaint form.
Okay.
Is what I asked for, and then I don't know. I'm trying to file a complaint on a lieutenant, so
Okay.
I figured Captain would be the one if they're wanting me to talk to somebody. Then I
I
assumed
get you a complaint form. That's no problem.
Okay.
Captain Holly is our patrol captain.
Okay.
And he's gone for the day, but he will be back at normal business hours tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay.
So if you want to come back and talk to him, you're welcome to do that. I'll get you a complaint form. And if you want video, you're going to have to file a PIR with
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, and she said that they left it for
Yeah,
or something
they're
like
gone for the
that.
day.
So
Okay.
do I still come to this window?
Yep, this window during normal business hours.
Okay, before 4.
Before 4.
Gotcha.
And I'll get you a form right now.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, Roger. Get outside and get in the soil and get into the earth and grow stuff. Grow herbs, have a garden. Definitely, man. That's where it's at. Teach your kids how to do that too. Get some chickens. Homestead, man. 100,000%. That's the only chance I think the youth have is to homestead and to homeschool.
All right, sir. Here's the complaint form. Just fill this front out.
Hey, sure does, Stacy.
Statement continued on the back there.
Okay.
And then this right here is just a warning.
Stacy says
there.
Chuck sounds
Sure.
like the actual Bourne movie
you
with
fill
Matt
that
Damon.
Who do I give this to?
You can bring it back and give it to the window or an officer, whoever you'd like to, the captain, whoever you'd like to give it to.
Is it possible to like get an appointment with internal affairs?
Yeah, again, normal business hours are usually here. They're not here on Friday.
Okay.
I would recommend talking to the captain first.
Okay.
And if you don't get what you're looking for from there, then I'm sure he can refer you.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks so
Okay.
much.
All right, have a good one.
This kind of seems to be the norm anymore. Cops all think they're above the law. I don't know.
Brett,
They just do what they want.
Keystone Cops.
Right down the street from that PD.
Check that out, man. That looks kind of cool.
I pulled up to this traffic stop, taking some pictures, eating my dinner. Cop staring at me right there.
Right on, man. What's the matter? You spent the day working in the garden, squirrels eating the carrots. Yeah, I get that.
This cop decides to
Cigarette butts over the fence. That's
drive around, get behind me,
low class, throwing up cigarette butts in your garden.
run my
That's
plate
not cool,
because
man.
I'm over here exercising my First Amendment right, and he knows it's me. He knows what I'm doing.
Right on, Mama Lion. Where it's at, man. Get out in some sun.
At least he knows my car.
Dig in the soil. Yeah.
So he decides he's just gonna retaliate,
Right on.
run my plate.
Zoom
Must
with
be doing
monkeys,
it for
same thing.
personal reasons
60 to 70 chickens, right on.
or retaliation. I don't know why else he would do it. I'm just sitting there eating some Panda Express there.
Get off the Bill Gates poison freaking nonsense grid.
Little
as many people
intimidation
call it.
tactics.
You can check the south side of the building.
Create parallel systems where you
I
look
jump
after
out
each
here. I
other.
see my info on his screen. He doesn't realize I'm there at first. And he takes off. I'm like, where are you going, dude? If you want to retaliate, let's talk about it. Chicken. It's getting up late.
Right on, man. Very cool, Brett. Very good. Hopefully it's like a Thai or an indica. The Thai ones are difficult, I think, in the States, right? Volcanic soil, I think, is the way you want to go. I think you're right, Colton. I think you have a point, Colton.
Coming out of that. You can check the south side of the
All right,
building.
well, that's cool.
We're gonna check the south side of the building.
Not so much of a steamroller effect. Man, these cars, I mean, I'm seeing some of these SUVs going for over $100,000 at the dealerships. Trying to figure out how are these, how are they affording these things? How are these municipal corporations? How are they paying for all this equipment, guys? Civil asset forfeiture. Hello, civil asset forfeiture. Think about it. Besides just their road pilot operation, civil asset forfeiture. One big bus could bring in a couple $1 million, just like that. They love having the cartels come through their states because they could get millions. It pays to have criminals rolling through with gold bars and silver bars running through. Trust me. It pays for the local police. That's right, Jay. That's right, Jay Sharp, and put them in torture cuffs. Throw them in a dungeon. The only people who get justice are people who can afford $20,000, $50,000, $60,000 for a lawyer to do an appeal, and even then they may not win. Think about that. The injustice in that, how ridiculous that is. Insane. Something like that would happen to somebody because they're exercising a First Amendment right. It's insane. Absolutely just disgusting to me. A country built on the First Amendment and holding the government accountable would do something like that to somebody. Absolutely insane.
No turn signal.
Good job, Chuck. It's just, oh, God. Oh man, you're killing me. No, God, no. Man, over the top, my brother. Oh, it sure is, Chad.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I think that's the last one I've got. I don't know. Is BZ still around? I've got other ones that I found, but I know BZ had like he had a hey, let's OTVO. The problem is I'm not able to open. So it wasn't mad at you. I see you put a link there, but since I am in StreamYard, it doesn't allow me to click on those links. But I do have some other cool videos that I found that I can share with you anyways, I think. At least I found some stuff that I was hoping I could talk to you guys about. So it looks like right now, just while I've got you all here, there is a I guess in England or Australia, that anybody present near a riot will be remanded in custody, even if they were only a curious observer. So if you're an active participant or a curious observer, oh, this is in Belfast. So it looks like right now in Ireland, if you're participating in some kind of a observing a riot, that'll be enough to have you arrested. So, another example of cause and effect, right? The locals are complaining that the government is flooding their country with sub-Saharan Africans and altering their culture. And a lot of these people are having their way with the women and kids, and they're reporting it, and the government's not doing anything about it and saying you're a right-wing extremist if you complain about it. And the locals are getting pissed. And so now you have this problem where they're having these riots. And so the response by the government, so the government creates the problem, right? They create a riotous condition. They pit like these two cultures against each other. Of course, that's going to happen. That's only normal, right? You're not acclimating to the new culture. And these other people, the Irish, have been there for thousands of years. They fought against the king and the Troubles. And, a lot of these guys, they don't understand what Sinn Féin's doing. They don't get it. None of it makes any sense to them. But anyways, there's battles and riots now. And the government is saying right now that if you're even anywhere near one of these riotous conditions, that will be enough to have you put in jail. So that's pretty wild. Let me see if there's anything else that I found that looked good. Well, I found this other cool video. It's not really a cop watch video or anything, but I kind of like it. Hopefully you guys will like it too. I can get it to play. Oops.
Historical facts that will distort your perception of time. The cowboy era and the Victorian era took place at the same time. Machu Picchu and the Sistine Chapel were built just 33 years apart. Abraham Lincoln and the samurai era took place at the same time. There were still woolly mammoths roaming the earth when the Great Pyramids were under construction.
That's wild to me.
Cleopatra was alive closer in time to us today than she was to the pyramids' construction. The city of London is 1,500 years older than Genghis Khan.
Wow.
The Ottoman Empire was still around when Walt Disney released his first cartoons. The Eastern Roman Empire fell just 39 years before Columbus discovered the Americas. Saturn's rings did not even exist when the Stegosaurus was roaming the earth.
Wow.
Historical facts that will distort
Well,
your
that's pretty
perception
cool,
of time.
right? I mean, that's kind of outside what I normally do. But I did find another really cool kind of cop watch kind of thing. Let's check it out.
Because first things first, that's your license. I stepped on it by accident. It's getting out of the
No,
car.
you did this on purpose. You did this on purpose,
On
bro.
purpose, accident. Who cares?
This guy broke my license on purpose. Look at this. Look at this.
Would you like me to tell you what
Look at
you need
this.
to do, or I just
This guy broke it on purpose, bro.
Can you believe that?
Broke it on
crap?
purpose. How? It's a new license. How can it break?
Sir, we're done.
How can it break?
I'm trying to help you out.
You don't need to help me. You need to put it. Why would you break it?
That's fine.
Why would you
We're
break
done.
it?
There you go. All your information on the back. Okay, so first things first.
Check
That's
it
your
out.
license. I stepped on it by accident.
Stepped on it by accident.
on
broke it.
purpose.
God. I mean, that's just so blatant. Okay, so now the next one is going to be our homeboy. Hopefully it's an actual video. Hopefully we can watch it. May not be. Hold on. Let me get over here. Yeah. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. This is our main man. Our main man. Here's the deal. Let's check him out.
Right here, we've got two cops discussing the statement, all cops are bad. The cop or former cop on the left is Dominic Rizzo. The cop on the right is Ted Stern. He's with a YouTube channel called Fit Responder. This right here is Dominic's channel. This right here is Ted Stern's channel. I'm going to leave the links in the description for you so you can check out the entire conversation. This is pretty lengthy, and I was able to distill some of it. And if you're interested, in the future, I could do a live stream on this because this is over an hour, I think an hour and 20 minutes long. I've distilled down the pertinent parts. But again, the statement is that they're talking about, and there's some crazy admissions in this video that we're about to watch. But the statement is all cops are bad. Dominic Rizzo right here on the left says, yes, that's a true statement. All cops are bad. Let's check this out.
Public sucks. The public are scum, and they're never going to change. The public are always looking to vilify the police. The public will never take responsibility for ever. So it's my job, if I willingly choose to do this profession, and every day I get up and I got to put that uniform on, I'm not going to go in to look at it as I'm going to make a difference in the world.
Now, this is interesting because Dominic Izzo here has a great disdain for the public, and he generalizes the public, and he says the public sucks. Now, it's true that it is a generalized statement saying all cops are bad, but there is an objective basis for that. We're going to go over that in a minute.
No, I'm going to sit there and be the best version of myself, because it doesn't matter if it's little, 80-year-old woman who's down the street and she's pissed off because her neighbor's dog is outside barking at 2:00 in the morning, or if it's a person who's just had a drive-by, at their home, or somebody stabbed or whatever. It did not matter what the call is. Some human being, either because they legitimately needed help, or because we're their employees. They pay our salaries. They expect it. It didn't matter what it was. I had to curb my ego, show up, and I had to be the best version of myself. And that to me was like, damn, this is, now I was 39 or 40 at the time when that realization set in. And I went, this is a massive responsibility that as a younger man, I just didn't appreciate. It's like, I have the opportunity to thanklessly, because they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But I get the opportunity to go in every day and actually be the best version of myself. How do I do that? So I saw that as a daily
beating my
challenge.
wife.
I saw law enforcement, being a cop, as one of the best outlets for self-perfection. I speak about cops as if they're lower than shit. I am unbelievably critical, and that ruffles the feathers of a lot of police officers. It really does. And we'll get into that. I became extremely self-righteous in the last 5 years of my career, where I hated what command staff could do to cops. And my disdain for law enforcement always began with command staff. I watched how they violated the same shit that they've strung cops up on a daily basis, how they went from patrol to sergeant. And the next thing they're doing is they're disciplining guys for the stupidest shit on the planet because they can. And it's a power trip. So because I was in a great position, I didn't care if anything happened to me.
In my opinion, he hypocritically makes a distinction between regular beat cops and command staff, and he makes quite a few contradictory statements. He's a tangent talker and doesn't stay on point, and he doesn't substantiate his statements. He says all cops are bad, but then he puts the bulk of the badness on command staff when he later admits that all cops are bad and all cops have your freedom and your life in their hands. And more often than not, they're going to railroad you, especially if they're having a bad day or if you talk back. So this is beyond command staff, and that's part of the hypocrisy and part of the...
Man, Brian is so good, man. I mean, this guy, seriously, what did he say? Tangential talker? I don't know, man. Just keep it going, brother. I mean, this guy should have his own like nationally syndicated show. He's so good.
Contradiction of, as he's trying to explain to Ted Stern here, that all cops are bad. He was that bad cop, but then he tries to paint himself out as, hey, I was just trying to make the world a better place.
If I got fired or if I was forced to resign, I didn't have mouths to feed. It was just me. So I took on positions that were against command staff. And where I started to get really salty was the air quotes brothers in blue that wanted.
That's right. So Stacy says at least he's being honest, right? Yeah, I mean, that's true. He's being honest. He hates everybody and he knows they hate him, but he's trying to make a difference. And in his mind, maybe he thinks he can save someone he thinks is innocent or good. But more often than not, we've seen the outcome of this tribalistic mentality, and it's really unfortunate. It's not a good look for a country that's based upon individual rights and liberty. And it looks and feels like a police state when you have that kind of friction. It kind of reminds me of like a Judge Dredd or one of those like Stallone movies where he's like, frozen or something, and then they take him out of hibernation. Just kind of weird. It doesn't feel right. Not for a constitutional republic where we should have utmost freedom and liberty. And then we have Yeah, Let's OTVO says cuffs fit multi-personalities, that's for sure. And then Roger Lane says hold leadership responsible and things will change. Well, yeah, that's true, but we know that that's not what happens. We know it's like a power structure where you have money going into this machine, which goes into like a union, like an SEIU, and then that union supports a political candidate or whatever. And it's just all about power, and it doesn't trickle down to the people paying for everything. That's the problem. They work for the elites at that point, right? It's the union bosses, and they have money to sway elections, and it's become something that it's a leviathan, which is exactly what John Locke warned us against. That's why I like to tell you guys, create parallel systems. You could always set up a small town and have like-minded people and big land, big property, and just look after each other and homestead, homeschool, and you could build your own parallel systems, guys. You really could do it. Doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means that you want to get back to nature and you don't need to live on the grid. It's not a necessity. And I think Roger is right. We should hold leadership responsible, but the best way to hold them responsible is to create parallel systems where you're developing relationships and no longer buying from their Target or their Bud Light or whatever their latest thing is, where they're pushing something that you may not agree with. And you don't have to participate in a system that rejects your values. You don't, when they try to force things on you, you don't have to take that. You're still a freeborn person. And so the way we can do that is to become friends and form parallel systems. And over time, we could do that together. So that's one of the reasons why it's nice to come and visit you guys sometimes. I wish I could hang out with you guys more. Get me a couple of big accident cases, and the world could change for all of us, because I could spend all my time here with you guys. But it's really nice. So let's go ahead and listen to what Brian's got to say. I don't think we're going to be able to watch the whole thing tonight, guys, but just get an idea of what Dominic has to say. I think at one point I was going to have him on my show. I just lost his contact information, but he seemed like kind of a cool dude to me, not knowing anything more about him. At least he's honest about who he is, which always makes me respect man when they're defined and I know who they are. I think that that's a good characteristic, but let's keep going.
Me to write the letter of no confidence and demand the chief's resignation. The ones that wanted me to file the lawsuit, the ones that all stood behind me, they were like cockroaches when the lights came on. When it came down time for them to have my back, I can't. So I will say this. Everybody accuses me. You're bitter. You're just salty. You hate what happened to you. I'm heartbroken. I am devastated to what happened to me. I loved that profession. I am 100% bitter and angry and salty.
And that's part of his contradiction. And on the one hand, he says command staff is bad. The fellow Thin Blue Line gang members don't have my back when it's absolutely necessary. He says the entire system is corrupt from top to bottom. And yet he says he loved that profession that specialized in trampling people's rights and even taking.
So what's the matter? You obviously has seen this. What's the matter? You says, Stacy, yeah, he's sort of telling the truth, but he also contradicts most everything he says and self-aggrandizes constantly. So yeah, what's the matter? You is like the smart guy who always types bad. That's exactly what it sounds like to me. Like what do they call those guys? Like a narcissist, where they kind of gives you that feeling anyways. I don't know if it's true. I'm not going to accuse the guy, but when you hear contradictions like that, it kind of makes you question. Like when someone says that they carried a weapon to war, and then later on, you find out they lied, and maybe they said they were a command sergeant major when they weren't, and they lied about that and said they were. That would, as a military guy, that would make you question them as a leader and not want to have them in a position of leadership. So I get all that. Yeah. If you self-aggrandize and you make up garbage, that's why I always told everybody I got injured in MCT and SOI, and that was it. Never told anybody that I was in a high-speed recon or Navy SEALs or any of that kind of crap. Just proud that I earned my Eagle Globe and Anchor. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Let's OTVO. I think I'm going to probably crash out too, guys. Hopefully you guys had a good time. I'll try to come on tomorrow. I'm just trying to come up with some cool material. What else do you guys, what are you interested in? I like teaching legal principles. So is there like a certain, I was doing one on state ref, but that guy got busy. I really want to get him back on. One of these guys who has the modified cars and he keeps getting those tickets in California, and they're trying to make him remod his car back, and the state referee has to sign off. And what a nightmare that is. It's like this Orwellian dystopian universe now in California. Like imagine like when I was growing up, we were modifying like Volkswagen Bugs, like taking those things and just maxing them out and, putting dual Webers and all this cool stuff to make them faster. And you could make them fast, man, those little Bugs. And we were building out like 350 Chevys and doing other stuff like that, like people still had like Camaro SSs and Novas. And now, if you put like a cold air intake and you maybe put a different size turbo or whatever on your motor, now the police can pull you over, force you to pop your hood, and give you this ticket that if you don't take care of it, they can literally arrest you, and force you to spend thousands of dollars to get it fixed and have it signed off by a referee under a certain amount of time, or it cannot be ridden on the streets. Sometimes they can just take it from you right off the bat. And so that was one of the shows that I did a short event, but I wanted to have this guest on about that. And so if there's any other issues, like somebody wanted me to do one on squatters, but I don't think we'd get a lot of people interested in that, but like what your rights are against squatters when they're coming in and breaking into your homes and all that. But if you guys have something that has to do with like interactions with the police, yeah, man, and Roger, I ran across a dude once who had a Porsche turbo motor, a 911 SC motor in a Vanagon. And apparently the 911 SC motor mounts up perfectly in a Vanagon of that era. That was back in Newport Beach, probably like in 94 or something. Yeah, it was amazing though, because I heard a Porsche coming because I was tuned to it because my dad had a couple of Porsches, the flat six ones, and you hear them, it sounds so cool. You hear them and you always look because back then Porsches were still cool. And I'm looking and I see a freaking Vanagon. I'm like, what the hell? I run downstairs. It's on 24th Street in Newport Beach. I run down and I stopped the guy and he told me it was in I think it was a turbo Porsche, and they got the motor out and put it in this Vanagon. And I guess the motor mounts almost fit perfect, like where you can just drop it in. So cool story, true story. It really happened. I'm not making it up. I've got no gain in telling you my war stories. Okay, so let me see here. Yeah, you're right, Let's OTVO, about the First Amendment. So listen, Let's OTVO, if you have some video links, email me them about different videos that you'd like me to break down from a lawyer's perspective that have to do with the First Amendment issue. It doesn't necessarily have to be, a cop pulling someone over. It could be a city council where people are getting arrested because they're exercising their First Amendment rights. And we could talk about the public forum, and we can talk about, limited forum and all the different characterizations, so people can kind of understand when they do and when they do not have an unfettered right to say whatever they want for as long as they want, for blah, 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 whatever it might be. Right. But yeah, any of that kind of stuff, if you guys want to know about that, I'm totally down. But just send me some links. And if you guys have new video of, oh, by the way, even if it's of a car accident, send it over to me and I can, because I'm a car accident lawyer, I can tell you what my analysis is just based on looking at an accident scene of who's at fault, who's not, and, give you a lawyer's analysis of all your car accident footage if you want, and that kind of stuff. And then also, guys, if anybody wants to buy my book, how it's my journey of becoming a lawyer with no law degree or undergrad, and it's like 1995 or something. Let me find my channel for you really quick here, guys. So if you go to my channel, which is right here, hopefully you can see that, and you just go right here where it says more. Right down there, there's a little link. It says purchase my book. So it's this book. It's excuse me. It's my journey to becoming a lawyer with no undergrad or law degree, and it will be the digital version of this. This is my soft cover that still, I haven't made enough sales to be able to afford to have soft covers made yet, but I have the digital version that's for sale, but it has the same book cover on it. So see, so that's what it'll look like, but it's digital. So, you know, you'll be able to just read it on your Kindle or whatever your device is. But in that book, I talk about how I found out about the law study program, how I found lawyers who would let me study law under them, and how I studied, how I ultimately got work as a young apprentice lawyer and worked my way up to finally starting my own law firm and getting into all sorts of different types of law where I'm able to help people and, you know, participate in a lot of really cool things where I've been able to help society. But I haven't done a whole lot of civil rights and stuff in the last couple of years. So this thing that happened with Chile made me come back out again and to talk more about my experiences with bad law enforcement officers back in the day and standing up for my rights and seeing guys like BZ Watchdog and Chuck and Chile still doing it. And it just sparked something in me. And I saw that false arrest of Chile. So now I just kind of like coming on and talking to y'all and making sure that I give you the right information. So when you have an interaction with law enforcement, you don't end up shot or put in the torture cuffs and arrested. Make sure that you make it home safe too. Make sure that not just the officer gets home safe, but you also get home safe. And a lot of that has to do with demanding your rights in a way that makes you look good no matter what. So it's like when someone really gets your goat and you lose your temper, you look like the aggressor. You look like the bad one, right? You've seen that before. Don't tell me you haven't, where somebody was in the right, but then another person kicks them the wrong way. And now they go over the top, the one who was in the right, and they start screaming and yelling and going bananas. And they look like they're the adversary. They look like they're the bad person. And that's all that the jury is going to see. They're emotional people, the people who couldn't figure out a way to get out of jury duty, right? So that's what you're going to be left with, guys. That's why I really want you to pay special attention and take heed to what I'm teaching you, which is a safe way to have interactions with law enforcement and make it home safe yourself. So you don't have to spend time locked away. Or if they do lock you away, you did such a great job that you're out the next day and the charges are dropped because they realize after they watch the interaction that you just come off as too good of a witness. I'm just telling you guys, I'm just trying to give you the right kind of information so you can make the right decisions for yourselves and still get the same result, which is holding the government accountable. Because I don't want to see any of my brothers and sisters get planted on their heads like what happened to Carolina and Fort Worth. I still get sick to my stomach when I think about what happened to her. It literally just makes me cringe. And I hope to God she gets those charges dismissed. And I think that it should be all over the front page of national newspapers what happened to her. Those charges should be dropped. We should be protesting in front of City Hall every day if you're down there, if you live in that area, to get the DA to drop those charges, in my opinion. That's what I would be doing. I mean, if you really want to be an activist and you can afford it, try to find a way to get down there. Don't just show up for a photo op. Get out there and do what you can, and I'll do what I can to support it from my channel, of course. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents. Do what you guys need to do. Everybody make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to double tap. Give me a bunch of double taps because that is like and vertical. And I really do appreciate everybody. Brett Ray, good seeing you. Stacy Parenti, keep your cool as always. Absolutely. What's the matter, you? My residential genius. My resident genius. Stacy Parenti, thanks for joining me. Brett Ray, thank you again for coming. Everybody, thanks for donating and helping me out with super chats and coffees and stickers and all that stuff and book purchases. I've sold 4 copies of my book so far, guys. So thank you, guys. I broke 13,000 tonight. So I'm a teenager now. I broke 13,000 subscribers. So give me a bunch of claps and ones. And I sold 4 books. So I sold 4 digital versions of my ebook about how I became a lawyer with no undergrad or law degree, and got sworn in, and later on went on to actually get a law degree. So people couldn't say, oh, you don't have a law degree. So I did that anyways, but I was already a practicing lawyer before I got my law degree, which was really cool. So I cover that in my book. So das is there. And want to make sure that everybody likes and subscribes, and make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And let's see here. Anybody else? You're welcome, Stacy Parenti. 13,000. That is so cool, guys, that I broke 13,000 subscribers. I mean, I just had 3,000. And guys, I think I got like $100 in super chats. That's like a miracle. That's a lot. I mean, I know it doesn't seem like, look, I'm a lawyer, and yeah, I can make money, but like, that's pretty freaking cool that somebody would just like throw me like $50 because they want to hear what I have to say. That's like, it's kind of an ego boost for me a little bit. I'll be honest. It's pretty nice. So thanks, guys. Thank you for giving me some validation. that means a lot to me. It really does. Yeah, the best way to reach me, Stacy, is, I go to the michaeleline.com website and just use my contact form and shoot me over whatever info you have, and I'll reach out to you on my phone. Yeah. I just, it's like, man, I get so many spam calls already. I just don't want to like blast my contact like to everyone, but I do want to help people. And, BZ Watchdog helps me out with a lot of stuff too. He's a really cool dude. And I want you guys to support BZ Watchdog's channel, because he's getting all these public records requests and exposing all these cops, a lot of these same cops that Chuck is auditing. So I really want you guys to make a good faith effort to always support BZ Watchdog's channel. And then, obviously donate or whatever you can do to help him pay for some of these public records requests. They're very expensive. And he's paying with his own money to do that. So, if you can help him offset that, and or just promote him. If you don't have money, that's fine. Just promote his channel, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And of course, do the same with Chuck. But, this is the teamwork is the dream work. They're all working together in tandem along with Team DLZ to get out there and form a really cool, loosely, kind of tightly knit, loose confederation of free thinkers who are out there holding the government accountable. So I think that's really nice. Mama Lion, totally awesome seeing you. Thanks for all the trophies. And yeah, hit the snooze button. Hit that snooze button. Let's OTVO still here with me. Really appreciate it, guys. Yeah, it's too late for me to go anywhere, so I'm just kind of zoning out. All right. So make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And Semper Fi, do or die. I may or may not see you guys tomorrow, but I'll try to break this up and do as many shorts as I can, so you guys will have some cool stuff to watch over the next couple of days. I'm teaching my kids how to make shorts, and that'll buy me hopefully some time to come up with some cool material. But let's OTVO, send me some stuff if you got some stuff you want me to sort of talk about. Send me the links, because I think the best way to teach people is to like show them like videos, and then sort of break down like how I would handle it, or what the legal way, the practical way, how a jury is going to look at this. That's kind of what you want to look at, like the big picture, not just like who's right and who's wrong, but the big picture. Can I win? And if I win, will it be a tactical victory, or will it be a decisive victory, or will it just be a, like an empty victory where I get $1 but I win, right? So those are the kinds of things I want to talk about. So anyways, have a great weekend, guys. If I don't hear from you or talk to you over the next couple of days, Semper Fi, do or die. And it's really great seeing you. Bye.